All right, just sit back and get ready to have the most fun you ever had with an electronic device.
What's that, upside down, when you're editing, writing, you put that little carrot at the bottom.
Oh,
like
yeah.
So it looks like an upside down carrot pointing at a nipple.
It looks like a boob.
There you go.
But everything looks like a boob to me.
At one point, there were probably about 35 of these hanging.
That's a lot of boobs. It's an odd number, which is strange.
35 boobs.
Just all over the house. Yeah.
All right, everybody, welcome out to the Get On With It Sports Show. It is Wednesday, May 26th, 2021. Jersey Johnny coming at you, and with me, as always, is none other than Mr. RadioPete and Mr. Harry Lug Nutz. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hello, gentlemen. Hello.
How the hell's everybody?
Fantastic.
Fan-friggin-tastic.
Is the nasty weather going to take us out?
I don't know. Well, it just blew through here. That's why I was just running around outside. I had to pull down the umbrella out back, and then I had to put cushions under the deck chairs.
Oh, my God.
And it came up right before I was going to send you the link to get started, and sure enough, that's when the tornado started. So
you're going to have to batten down your lawn darts.
I battened down everything, but it's coming at you, Pete. It's coming towards you. So.
Well, I'm glad I had those big trees taken out of the backyard. So. Including the apple tree that was like 12 feet from the house. That grew 2 stories tall.
Right.
This is the one time where it benefits you for being in a bunker.
This is true. This is true.
Although, I don't know. That shelf looks pretty... I don't think it's secured to the wall.
Well, is it an exterior wall?
If the wind ever came in through the window and swirled, this room would be a cartoon.
It already, trust me, it already is.
Yeah,
but it would more so than it is.
It would be an actively moving GIF or GIF.
With the Tasmanian devil spin out of the back, and
or when Andy Capp would get in a fight with his wife.
Oh yeah.
No, it was just like a cloud
around
feet and things.
Tasmanian Marie Kondo.
The Tasmanian devil and Andy Capp with the cloud around him. We're dating ourselves yet again.
I said Tasmanian Marie Kondo.
I'm pretty sure Andy Capp is.
She would spin out of the back. And,
very topical. She would kick Andy Capp's ass.
She would kick Andy Capp's ass.
I don't know who Andy Capp is.
I know it would bring her joy.
I thought you were talking about Andy Dick. I don't know who Andy Capp is.
Who's the old cartoon?
I don't know who that is.
The old cartoon years ago when we were kids.
I'm just being honest. I don't know who Andy Capp is.
Andy Capp. I'll have to find it and
throw this one at you. How about Alley Oop? You remember Alley Oop?
Alley Oop.
No, not as a cartoon.
It was a comic strip.
It's a comic strip.
In the paper. Remember newspapers?
I do remember that. I remember Silly Putty. I remember the funnies when they were in color on Sunday.
They had the color and everything.
I just don't know Alley Oop and Andy Capp.
Alley Oop and Andy Dick.
BC?
Yes.
BC, yeah.
How about Dondi?
Dondi, I remember. Family Circle.
Dondi always had big panels.
Archie. I thought you were going to say something else.
Beetle Bailey.
That was Dandy, not Dondi.
That was Dandy, not Dondi.
That was Donna.
Dondi.
That was in the back of Mad Magazine.
Dondi, was that a cartoon strip about Mattingly?
I don't know. I hope not.
Maybe. It just always bothered me because I remember I guess it was Dondi's father's love interest.
Dondi's father's love interest.
Wow.
This is a deep cartoon strip.
Wow, we've already lost anyone.
Well, whatever, they're gone. So, but her name was
hashtag Dondi's father's love interest.
I don't know if that's what she was. She might have been.
On next week's show, we interviewed Dondi's.
I don't think she was his
interest.
mom. I think Dondi was like a precursor to
Dondi's father's mom was not his love interest.
No, I don't think. Well, her name was spelled Kjate. Kjate. And I never knew how to pronounce it, and that always bothered me.
Apparently, it's a silent K. It's a silent
K.
It's just Jate.
Jate.
Sounds like a Japanese energy drink.
Maybe it's a silent J.
Dondi might have been the what was the TV show? The Courtship of Eddie's Father. Might have been the model for the Courtship of Eddie's Father.
Maybe the first time The Courtship of Eddie's Father, of course.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, the Courtship of Eddie's Father. You remember it.
I'm sure it exists. I don't remember it.
You didn't absorb enough media as a child.
Exactly.
Were you outside playing?
He was outside playing basketball. He had a really nice basketball hoop over his garage.
There was a show with a title called The Courtship of
Eddie's Father.
Eddie's Father?
Sure,
Yeah, I think it was about
Not My Three Sons?
That was Bill Bixby, wasn't it?
Courtship of Eddie's Father was Bill Bixby, yeah.
Bill Bixby.
He was the dad. He was the dad, and his
it was
kid was
prior to the Hulk.
Bill Bixby was the Hulk, though, right?
Yeah. A mom had passed away, I think, in the show, and
was Lou Ferrigno also in it?
Lou Ferrigno was also in the Courtship of Eddie's Father.
He was
the main courtesan.
It was any time there was a love scene, it was Lou Ferrigno.
The Courtship of Eddie. The Courtship of Eddie's Father. That's what it's called.
That was the name of it.
The Courtship of Eddie's Father. Yeah.
Huh.
So.
All right. Well, I got to go.
All right. Well, this has been an interesting entertainment podcast.
Fortunately, folks, you can find any of these shows
top 10
on
shows
YouTube somewhere.
Top 10 obscure shows.
Obscure cartoons, cartoon strips and shows.
Oh, those were cartoons. The Courtship of Eddie's
Well, no, the Courtship
No,
of Eddie's Father was an actual TV show.
I was going to say Bill Bixby was in it.
Dondi.
My point is, Dondi might have been sort of the model for the TV
for the Courtship of Eddie's Father. That's true. Yeah, you know what? I never thought of that. That is true.
Right, because the mother was out of the picture.
Yep. Yeah. Good.
And, but Dondi was such a wimp.
No wonder your top 10 lists are always so screwed up.
Yeah,
you guys,
I can't focus.
You guys are digging way back.
John Donovan just commented, Dondi. There you
Dondi,
go.
Yeah, okay.
He knew. He knows.
He's listening.
He's listening.
Not for long, though.
For a little while.
Maybe we'll start talking about sports.
So yeah,
Dondi Baseball.
Dondi Baseball. There you go. Dondi Baseball. That was his subsequent name.
That's when they wanted to.
The 80s. Once again into the 80s.
Trying to spark him up. They'd call him Dondi.
I preferred I Dream of Jeannie.
There you go.
Was that? I'm guessing the Courtship of Eddie's Father was before that.
Courtship of Eddie's Father. About the same time, probably actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Late 60s, early 70s. Sure.
Yeah,
somewhere in there. Because the Hulk was after Courtship of Eddie's Father.
The Hulk was like
mid 70s, mid to late 70s.
Well, yeah, he didn't
late 70s, early 80s, wasn't
it? He didn't get the girl, and he got mad and became the Hulk.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. And enter Lou Ferrigno. All right. So speaking of baseball, well, we just did Dondi Baseball. Let's chat a little bit about what's going on.
A little bit about baseball.
A little bit.
It's 78 was the Hulk.
78 was the Hulk. There you go. Okay. So it was before that. Maybe what would you say, Pete? Courtship of Eddie's Father, maybe 74, 75, somewhere in there.
Okay, so it's.
I would say definitely pre-75.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm thinking 71.
It wasn't
72.
like right before the Hulk. It was like a bit before.
Jimmy, look up when the Courtship of Eddie's Father.
Jimmy, check it out.
Might have been on in like 1968 through 72 or something.
Could be.
There's no way I should remember.
69 to 72.
69 to 72. You were damn close. Look at that, Pete.
Here we go.
Quite a bit.
Now, here's the weird part. I was 3 or 4 in 1969.
I think we watched all of these shows in.
Yeah.
But I guess they were in
syndication and repeats and everything else. Yeah.
But there wasn't we didn't have cable.
Well, no, syndication unlike Channel 5, Channel 9, Channel 11.
Even on regular television, they replay.
There was a lot of syndication going on back then because there wasn't as many TV shows, there wasn't as many channels.
Yeah, between Channel 5, Channel 9, and Channel 11, that's all it was.
Yeah, I guess that's where it all started.
Syndication and Planet of the Apes movies.
Sure, that was the programming for those 3 channels. It was news
because they didn't have their own.
They didn't have their
own programming.
Exactly.
All right, history of television, right here.
All right.
And who says you're not going to learn something?
Hello,
hocus. All righty.
All right, so baseball.
So, let's kick it off with, I just wanted to point out one thing. Jacob deGrom came back after being, out for a couple weeks, with that the right side tightness or left side tightness or whatever tightness it was.
You got that from Aaron Judge.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Right side tightness.
They were out drinking one night. He caught it, whatever.
Yeah.
But he pitched last night. Interesting stat just to throw at you. Jacob deGrom has thrown thus far this season, 58 pitches at 100+ miles an hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's the best hitter.
He's number one. Yeah, right. He's number one.
They need his bat more than they need his arm.
He's Shohei Ohtani of the Mets.
They need his bat.
Well,
that's the only reason why they need him in there.
Well, that's kind of my point. 58 pitches thrown at 100+ miles an hour. He's first in Major League Baseball. McClanahan from the Rays, He's second.
Rue McClanahan.
Rue McClanahan, right, from the Rays. He's second with 10. And Shohei Ohtani is third with 9 pitches at 100 miles an hour or more. That's minimum of 3 starts. So DeGrom is just, he's DeGrom. He's Jake. He's
And he looked good the other night. He did 3 innings, and they took him out. And
was it 3? Was it just 3?
I thought it was 3. Yeah, it was like on a 65 pitch count.
Yeah, that
I think,
out,
which was fine.
And they held it, yeah. So,
and he looked good, and then whoever else came in after him struck out a couple guys. And they were at one point it was like, I don't know, 7 out of the 11 batters or something, or whatever it was, or 15 out of the 17 or 18 they had struck out or something like that.
It's just crazy. I'm going to throw a couple of names at you. Ready? All right, here, ready? Patrick Mazeika.
Yeah.
Brandon Drury.
Jose
Peraza. Wilfredo Tovar. Khalil Lee. Cameron Maben. Billy McKinney. Okay, these are
Cameron Maben.
They were all on Charm season 4.
Is that Cameron Maben Jr.? Wasn't there? There was a Maben in the majors already. I thought there was already a Cameron Maben.
Well, it was him. He's
it is. So he's 58 years old.
He's 30. He's 34.
Oh, okay.
I
thought he was around for a lot longer.
Well, if he was, then maybe it was his father. But he's not a junior by any means. But those names that I just mentioned, they're on the active roster for the Mets right now. The Mets have a AAA team right now, and they're in first place.
Well, I think Mazeika, he got his first major league hit. Was it last night or the night before? So he's legit now.
Yeah, he's legit now. Exactly.
And he's got those was it Fielder's Choice
right. Those 2 Fielder's Choice walk-offs.
Yeah, so he's illegitimate.
He's got the People's Choice, Fielder's Choice.
What's probably sad is he's amongst that group, right? He's probably the most legitimate Major League Baseball player out of that.
As of any of them, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean,
but they're hanging on to first place.
Yeah, they are. They're holding on really tight there. I mean, it's insane. But here, I'll give you a couple.
Let's put it in perspective. They're 2 games over 500, which is fantastic.
Is the only team in the National League East that is over 500.
I understand that, and that's
why they're
part
in first
of
place.
my point.
Right.
But still, they're doing it.
The Mets have also played like 6 games less than everybody else because of the delayed start due to COVID. So.
Right. Yeah, that's the Nationals' fault.
Exactly. Well, the National and a bunch of rainouts and snowouts.
Thanks, Colorado.
A couple other names: Yency Diaz, Sean Reed Foley. These are pitchers now. It's just.
Quick story. Me and my son went to see the Long Island Ducks.
Okay.
Which is like,
And you saw half of the Mets roster playing for them.
No, we saw a couple guys. One time actually, Ricky was on the team for a little while. Okay.
Ricky Henderson was on every minor league team in the New York Tri-State area. He played for the Newark Bears from like.
Well, this is right. This is the same league.
Right. So, 2000 to.
So they had the lineups on the wall, and we were just looking at the names. And one of the names was, I forget his last name, but his first name was Jobdwan.
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 Right.
So remember a few years ago when they had the Coca-Cola? I don't know if they still do it, and they would put people's names on it. They would like have a Coke with.
Oh yeah, right.
Jobs on. So we walked past the Coke machine or the stand, the glass freezer door, and my son goes, "Have a Coke with Jobdwan."
Jobdwan.
I don't know what happened to him. Obviously, he didn't make the majors, but
did you buy it? Is it on the shelf right now? Can we see
No,
it?
I wish it wasn't actually there, but I really wish it had been.
That
would have been nice if they'd made some special ones up for the game.
That'd have been really good.
But that's the kind of guy that could be on the Mets. We might see Jobdwan on the Mets. This wasn't that many years ago.
And he was
just a kid. He was just a kid back then. He's probably 28, 29 years old.
Perfect for the Mets to bring
starting third baseman today.
Starting third baseman.
Jobdwan, like Rosales or whatever.
Jobdwan Rosales. If anybody knows who Jobdwan or what Jobdwan's last name and position was, please let us know.
I may have to look that up because Jimmy is not getting it done.
Jimmy's not doing his job. It's ridiculous. But
he never does his job.
It's insane that they're this many players. That was what the Yankees went through. Last year or the year before too, with so many players out.
Well, they're kind of going through it now.
Well, they've
got their own set of injuries.
Getting rid of Mike Tauchman was not a smart thing. As I watch him on SportsCenter hitting home runs. The Yankees have guys who have 38-year-old AA guys playing in right field, and then they get hurt.
Right.
So, yeah, when the rumors of Jay Bruce coming out of retirement surface, then you're digging deep into your well of people who can catch a ball.
Is Todd Frazier still available? Is he?
Well, you know what? He'd be better than Clint Frazier. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, that's possible. Why not? I mean, he's right. He's close enough, right?
Frazier did have he did score, I believe, the game-winning run a couple nights ago. But
there you go.
Yeah,
Todd or Clint?
Todd did. He just showed up
and scored. He just ran right out on the field, hit third, and went home. Scored the run. They counted it.
He was the extra inning guy on second.
There you go.
Nobody knew. It was supposed to be Clint Frazier. They both have uniforms. The name. Yankees don't have names on the back of the uniform, so it's okay.
So it's fine. It doesn't matter who it is. It's just as long as his last name is the same.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
It's insane. All right. Well, so Corey Kluber's out, like we were talking about earlier, shoulder strain. And Pete, you heard a couple months. You heard on
that's what the news on MLB.com says.
Gotcha.
4 weeks no throwing, and then 4 weeks working it back. So
working
2 months.
It back. And Voigt's out with no oblique strain too, right?
Yeah, Voigt, I think this season's going to be a kind of a scrap for him, and he can't get going, and now he's hurt again.
Yeah.
The Yankees lineup was so weird the other day that Luke Voigt was leading off. Yes, Luke Voigt was leading off. Mm-hmm. That would be the equivalent of Big Papi leading off.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, here's an issue with the Yankees, or I shouldn't say for the Yankees. They're playing two different seasons right now. They're playing one season against 27 other teams, and then they're playing a whole totally different season against the Blue Jays and the Rays. So they're 5-11 against the Jays and the Rays.
Although they did just sweep the Rays and the White Sox, they won 2 out of 3 against the Rays.
2 out of 3 against the Rays.
And swept the White Sox. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, they got off to a rough start, and a lot of those games in the beginning of the season were with the Rays and the Jays. And the Rays have been their nemesis.
Right.
And the Blue Jays match up well against the Yankees. Right. And the other thing is that, which is why this rain out today doesn't necessarily help the Yankees, is the Yankees always get Rue, or however you pronounce his name, who's
McClanahan?
Rue McClanahan, Rue, whatever the hell his name is.
Right.
Anyway, he's the ace of Toronto, and he seems to bring his A game above and beyond what he normally does against the Yankees, and they can't beat him. So when you get off to a bad start like that, they're this time against the Jays, he was not scheduled to pitch in this series. So hopefully that helps. But getting rained out certainly doesn't help that, because now he may pitch.
There you
go. So, I think the Rays don't have the depth of pitching that the Rays or the Yankees have. If they did, I think they'd have 5 or 6 more wins already this year.
Let's check it out really quick. They got the Blue Jays are 3.5 behind the Yankees.
Yeah,
but again, they play the Yankees hard. They match up, like you said. They match up well.
Yeah. The Rays, Red Sox, Yankees, and Jays are all in it. The Baltimore's, about where you would expect Baltimore to be. But the Yankees didn't really beat up on Baltimore as much as they should have in the beginning of the year either.
No, not at all.
So the Yankees stunk to start the season. Since then, they've been one of the hottest teams in baseball.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. It's not saying anything against the Yankees and what they're putting together on the field. It's just those two teams seem to have their number.
Well, weren't they?
Well, they had their number.
Will they continue to have their numnumber? That's my point.
Yeah, I mean,
weren't the Yankees 5-10 at one point to start the season?
Yeah, they were 5-10. They're now
28 and
20.
So they went 23-10. That ain't bad.
Yeah. 23-10 is not a bad record.
Since their start, other than the Red Sox have come down to earth a little bit, but the Yankees, the Red Sox,
but then they kind of leveled out. Yeah,
right.
we thought the Yankees, the Red Sox were going to fall apart.
Yankees, Red Sox, and Rays are all doing okay. The other thing too is that the Yankees don't have the dominant home record that the Rays and the Red Sox do, and I think that'll change once the season goes on.
Right.
But they're right there. They're in the top 3-4 teams in the American League right now, and
they're all about that. Actually, they've got a better record at home than Boston and Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
They're 14 and 10.
14 and 10 at home. Yeah.
Yeah. Boston's 13 and 13, and the Rays are 11.
What I meant to say is that because of that, Tampa and Boston have really good away records.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
19
the Yankees
7,
are
16
even up
7.
home and away.
Yeah.
And Tampa and Boston both, 9 and 12 games over. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Oh, the storm's coming.
Hey, you hear it? It's rolling.
Yeah, I got my shade, the top half of the shade down. I see lightning.
There you go.
So there we go. Maybe I'll get struck.
Maybe you'll freeze. And I don't mean just the Wi-Fi or your computer signal. I mean, maybe you'll actually freeze. Maybe it'll be cold when the storm goes through. Never mind.
I do have the air conditioning on.
There you go. Yeah. So hey, you know what? They're it's a weird season thus far. Let's look at a couple of the Major League Baseball grades here. The CBS actually put these out. Their MLB grades. The CBS didn't. It's the MLB grades, but they listed it. I'm on the CBS website. I'm not going to blow through a bunch. I'll just give you the highlights, if you will. Diamondbacks got a D. Braves D+. Orioles they gave a C. So
I think that's fair.
That's fair,
considering what they were expected to be, right?
Yeah, this is very true. That's very true. The leaders, if you will, the four top teams that they graded were the Rays, the Red Sox, the Padres, and the Giants. So,
well, I guess that's fair.
There you go. The Red Sox they gave an A. Cubs got a B. White Sox a B+. Reds a D. Somebody's phone ringing.
Nope.
Interesting. I heard it.
Was that a storm alert?
I don't know what it was. I heard it. Some computer was ringing. That was weird. Reds got a D. Indians got an A-. They gave the Indians an A-. Rockies. Harry, what do you think? What do you think the Rockies got?
An F.
No, D+. They gave him a D+. So.
What about Oakland?
I'm getting there. I'm going.
Okay.
Apparently, this is in alphabetical order.
Okay.
Tigers.
Well,
C-.
the A's should be first then.
Well, I guess it's alphabetical order by town, I guess.
Oh, fine.
Assuming so.
Tigers C-.
Tigers C-. Astros B-. Royals got a B+. Angels, here's your first F. Angels got an F. Dodgers a B. They only gave the Dodgers a B thus far. They gave the Marlins an A-. Brewers, stop me if you want to talk about any of these. Brewers got a B-. Twins, there's your second F. The Twinnies got an F. Mets, they gave a B. And they actually, I'll give you an excerpt of this. They said, no team in baseball has been ravaged by injuries to the extent that the Mets have. James McCann's actually playing first base, and he is. He's been playing first base for the last several games.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the one diving move. It was like a Gold Glove move when a couple games ago.
He's a good pickup.
He never before that day never played a game at first base. Yankees they gave a B+. The A's got a B. There you go. Pirates a C.
How do the Yankees get a B+ for being in third?
It's the Yankees, so the expectations were always going to be high. This team was picked by many to win the AL East and even the AL pennant. As such, it's a bit disappointing they aren't in first place, which is why
they're one game out.
They're one game out, yeah. Since the 5-10 start, they've gone 23-9. Apparently, this came out obviously before yesterday. So, anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's actually maybe B+ is a little low.
A little low, yeah.
Maybe it should be an A-.
It could be, yeah.
I think the Yankees should be a B. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, you give them a B.
A B.
Right.
I think
you got to give them an F for the first 15 games, but then
overall, I think they should be better. They should be 10, 12 games over 500.
Right. They should be,
and they're not. Right. So I don't think they're a B+. I don't think
they're far off of it though. I mean, they're 8 games over 500. So I mean, if you said they should be 20 over 500, then that would be
not yet
lower. I'm just saying if they were going to be that good.
Not till next week.
Not till, Wait till next week. They'll win 10 games in a week. Bunch of double headers. A's got a B. Phillies a C. Pirates a C. Padres, of course, an A. Giants an A. Mariners a D. Cardinals got a B+. Rays, highest score of anybody, only A+ in the entire rating.
The Rays or the Jays?
The Rays. The Tampa Bay Rays. Rangers got a C+, Blue Jays a B-, and the Washington Nationals a C+. So there are your grades for Major League Baseball right now. So there you go. Couple of things just to point out really quick. Did you see the Mickey Callaway news today?
Did he get arrested?
Mickey Callaway. Let me pull up the article here. Mickey Callaway has been banned in baseball till at least the end of the 2022 season. And, of course, the Angels fired him. So, obviously this is all stemming from the details that were originally shared by The Athletic with the sexual misconduct and everything. The alleged sexual misconduct. But, Major League Baseball's investigation has gotten to whatever point it got to. So the Angels fired him, and he's been banned from baseball for 2 seasons. The rest of this season and all next year. So,
and then somebody can hire him.
And I'm sure somebody will hire him. So remember that for football. I got something to talk about there.
Okay.
On that
football.
note.
We're talking
Mickey
about
Callaway.
Not Mickey Callaway. Just
Mickey Callaway is going to be the punter's coach for the New York Giants.
Baseball's
he's been banned by baseball, right? Not football. So.
Baseball's kind of going the way we thought it would be, and it's a slow day if we're talking about Mickey Callaway. Let's get to the NBA. Come on.
There you go. Well, we'll just finish it up here. I just wanted to ask you guys: did you happen to see what happened last week when Jordan Yamamoto gave up that one bad inning? Was it 5 runs or whatever? Was it Saturday? I guess maybe.
No,
Saturday,
I didn't see it. Nobody did except you and Pete.
and just nobody else watched that game. Anyway, Twitter blasted his wife.
Why?
The Twitterverse. I have no idea. I really have no. So
they blamed his wife for a bad outing.
For his bad outing. Yeah, they blasted his wife.
Oh, I don't get this. Why how does
I don't. I really don't get it either. I didn't read all the tweets, but she was literally on Twitter defending herself.
She was on Twitter, but
no, she was on Twitter defending herself.
No?
No. They were. Well, she defended her husband, and they started blasting her. Is what it was. But Jordan Yamamoto, he said, whatchamacallit, he came back. He wrote. Hold on, let me pull the whole thing.
It's too bad because he just won the Masters. And,
he did.
I thought that was really good timing.
His first Twitter post was, "I will address this once and only once. I know Twitter is sometimes not a very nice place, and to some of you it may seem fun to troll people. But you don't go and harass my wife. She isn't the one playing the game nor wearing the uniform. If you should be trolling anyone, it should be me. Tag me and comment on my post. It's my fault and my fault alone. I gave up those 5 runs. My own errors and lack of focus got away from me that inning. So don't go and harass her, because I understand as a professional athlete that comes with the territory. But our family and spouses did not sign up for that. They don't deserve it. Mm-hmm. No one deserves it. Blah, 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 blah." So,
all right. Can I read to you what she said?
Go for it.
So here's what she tweeted. She tweeted, I guess after the game, she was flying from Miami, whatever. She said, "Wow, from love to hate, so fast, Met fans. As my phone's blowing up with nasty tweets, I just want to remind you that we're human. I am a wife cheering on her husband, no matter the runs. Your passion for the game is great and all, but stay classy."
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I have the other tweet that she actually had here is, "I apologize on behalf of my husband. He is no Jacob deGrom." How about this? How about all the baseball players, football players, all the athletes just get off Twitter?
Right.
And I never once wanted to hear from Ron Guidry's wife about why why his earned run average went
up 2 runs in the bottom of the 3rd inning that one game. Yeah.
Dave Righetti's girlfriend was never given a platform to talk about why his split finger was just not moving in the 7th inning.
But Al Leiter's wife did make good,
She made good pasta salad. I have no idea.
I was trying to think of something.
She could be a heart surgeon for all I know. I don't know.
Exactly, but we never knew.
I don't care.
We never knew. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
But he did. Then he tweeted again. He says, "For clarification, number one, I did not imply that the whole fan base is bad. I truly love welcome the welcoming arms that the fans have given me and my family. Number 2, criticize me on my performance, not my family. Number 3, let's go Mets.
Or how about this? Because I gotta reframe things because I know what people putting down their phone and getting off Twitter is not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen.
Let's just be honest then. And why don't you just tell the Mets fans to go fuck themselves and leave your wife alone? Right. Let's make this interesting. Let's make it real.
Well, yeah, that's
I was just going to say. Apologies and all.
It's really sad that you have to say something and then you have to apologize for what you said, and then you have to apologize for the apology.
Right.
I mean, just
apologize for having to apologize in the first place.
Yeah. Look, if you're an athlete or you're an athlete's wife or a kid or whatever, brother, sister, and you're going to get on the fans for doing what fans do.
Right.
Then you deserve what you get.
Yeah.
And you should just take it and shut up.
Who cares who cares what
that's the bigger point.
At Big Boy 12 from Nyack has to say?
Exactly. And most of the time you let those things roll off. And that's probably pretty much the point here.
I understand the reaction though, but you have to realize the most important thing to realize is that you'll never win.
No.
If you're him, there's no way you win this. So you just tell your wife, please don't tweet anything more. And then if you want to say something to the fans, you go, hey guys, can you lay off?
Yeah,
that's all you
let it go. Let it go.
Don't say anything. Don't tweet
Gates
anything.
Can learn to lay off social media, then I think the wife of a pitcher,
for the Mets should lay off
should
as well.
take.
Just I mean, the best policy is just don't say anything. Let the fans have their vitriol, and it'll die out.
Sure.
And it'll be dead, and it'll go on for 6 hours or whatever, or till the next day, and then there'll be the next game, and then everybody will be mad about something else.
Something else,
if they win.
Something else, someone else.
There's no reason to prolong it by saying anything.
So, well, there you go. That's been the Twitter hour. We'll move on from there. It's pretty much been, like you said, Harry, in the beginning. It's definitely the dog days of.
Well, things are starting to level out a little bit. We're starting to see what we kind of thought. There's still some surprises, but we're starting to see what we thought would be leading and who we thought would be leading in each division. So, kind of
those
come into fruition.
Those dogfights that are going to go on for the majority of the summer are starting to take shape now. The wheat is separating from the chaff a little bit, and some of the chaff is a little better than maybe we thought, which is always good. Kind of they play a little bit.
More parity. There's more parity than we thought.
Maybe we thought.
There's a lot more parity. Yeah, definitely.
There's still going to be a big difference between the bottom teams and the top teams.
There's one bad team in each division as opposed to 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
This is true. This is very true. But
All right. Hockey. Come on, the Islanders are winning.
Islanders are 1 period away from moving on.
Islanders are 1 period away from moving on. We'll probably break that as soon as they do.
The Tampa Bay Bucks are up 1-0 against the University of Florida.
That would be interesting. So, anywho, all right. So, shall we?
NBA.
Well, we have a top 10 list to do.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about the top 10 list.
Exactly.
Can't wait to hear the comments about this one.
Maybe next week we can do NBA playoffs before obscure Mets pitchers and their wives' Twitter accounts. Maybe we could lead off with that.
Well, figured we'd...
the producers in my ear going, maybe that would be better.
Well... But see, if we talk about it later... then more of the games that are in play will have more time will have passed.
Exactly. That's the point of
You don't want to come on and talk about the NBA and go, hey, the Knicks are down 4-0 to the Hawks with 8 seconds going.
Right.
We don't want to talk about it until they're deep in the second
We
half.
want to talk about it when they're deep in, exactly. So, or even closer to the end of the game there. So that would be the point. So, well, I guess we could do our top 10 list. And it was an interesting top 10 list this week. Once again, we have 11 players on our top 10 list. It's better than the last couple weeks, though. Last few weeks, actually, we've had 12 players on our top 10 list. So this week, only 11. So let's get it going, shall we?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right.
I have a lot to say about
this week.
We need a top 10 theme.
We do need a top 10 theme.
All right.
So we'll have to pick another
Top 10.
Oh, maybe we could. What did they used to play on Letterman show?
Oh yeah, maybe we could use that.
I don't think we can use that. No.
Well, we can
NBC still owns it. I'm
It's
sure.
only
think NBC owns
copyrighted.
it, or you think
Only
NBC
copyright
owns
if anybody hears it.
it? Sure. Do you think NBC owns it, or do you think
Letterman definitely doesn't own it.
not Letterman? What's his face? Paul Schaefer.
No, he definitely doesn't own it.
No, you don't think
I
so?
don't even think Paul Schaefer owns his house.
You know what? I'll see if the boy can write a reasonable facsimile.
Yeah.
I want a tuba solo for the top 10.
Tuba for the top
Tuba
10.
solo for the top 10. That's
All
not
right.
a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all.
All right.
Let's get on it then. All right. So this week's top 10 list is top 10 shortstops in Major League Baseball history. I'll kick it off, and we'll do it like we always do. Number 10, again, like I said, we have 11. So we have a tie. Actually, I have a tie for second. So there you go. Top 10 shortstops in Major League Baseball history. Number 10 is Archie Vaughan. Archie Vaughan, right there. Joseph Floyd Archie Vaughan played for the
Played with
Pirates.
Stevie Ray for many years.
Got his. You know where he got his nickname from? Anybody?
Moses?
From Arkansas?
He was born in Arkansas.
Oh,
He
okay.
was born in Arkansas. So, Joseph Floyd Archie Vaughan. He played for the Pirates and the Dodgers. 9-time All-Star, National League batting champion in 1935, and stolen base leader in 43. Played his career batting average was .318. Had over 2,100 hits, 96 home runs, and 926 RBIs. And of course, he's in Cooperstown. Anything on Archie Vaughan?
If I had a 10B or an 11, he would have been the guy.
There you go.
He would have been in my top 20.
He would have been in your top 20? There you go.
If I kept digging and found Archie Vaughan. And he didn't come on my radar. I feel bad about that.
He did come up on a
Archie.
couple of lists that I looked at, but listen, 318 is
It's great in the so-called dead ball era.
In his depth player, absolutely. It's a great average for that. All right, number 10, Archie Vaughan. So let's move on to number 9 is Mr. Alan Trammell. Alan Stewart Trammell, to be exact. Played for the Tigers his entire career, 77 through 96. And he was a manager of the Tigers as well and the Diamondbacks for a year. 6-time All-Star, World Series champion in 84, World Series MVP that year as well, 4-time Gold Glove Award winner, 3-time Silver Slugger Award winner. His Detroit Tigers number 3 is retired. He had a career batting average of .285, 185 home runs, 2,365 hits, over 1,000 RBIs. And, he's in Cooperstown.
He's not in Cooperstown, is he? Or
No,
did
he's not.
He's not in Cooperstown.
He's in Cooperstown. He's a member
Did he
of the
make it in?
Baseball Hall of Fame, yeah.
Is he?
And he did 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Okay,
2000.
so he finally made it in because for a
2018.
long time there he wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. You had to wait to get the
The
veteran.
Modern Era Committee elected him in.
Is that what it's called now?
Yes.
And Thurman
Not the
Munson
veterans.
is still not in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I'm glad. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely. Yeah. He was in the Hall of Fame. So there you go.
So does Night Ranger.
This is true. So number 9, Alan Trammell. Number 8,
I
Night
gotta
Ranger.
take issue with that.
No, that's a joke. Night Ranger does not belong. Now, what was the offshoot of Night Ranger with Ted Nugent flying around every once in a while? It was like Styx, Night Ranger, and
Damn Yankees, right?
Damn
Damn
Yankees,
Yankees.
Damn Yankees. Yeah, that was
Yankees.
and the drummer from Big Country or something.
that was a super group, man.
That was a super group.
They're no Asia, but yes, they were a super group.
No Asia.
What were they called again?
Damn Yankees.
Damn Yankees.
Damn
God,
Yankees,
God, they were horrible. They
Damn
made Night
Yankees.
Ranger. They made Night Ranger a Hall of Fame.
Night
There you
Ranger
go.
was palatable compared
Yes.
to the Damn Yankees.
Yeah. Yes. Sister
Been a-
Christian. Great song.
Great song, yeah.
But they just didn't have, they never won a championship, Night Ranger.
They didn't.
And,
They got deep in the playoffs a couple times.
They
but
were shabby
never-
on defense.
Exactly.
Shabby on defense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Batting was subpar.
Plus, the singing drummer always,
kind of threw things off.
People don't understand that.
No,
It's so
absolutely.
tough. It's so tough.
When your number,
difficult.
it's like Beth from Kiss. When your number one song is sung by the drummer who never sings, it's hard to get over that hurdle.
It's difficult. It really is. So, all right. So, number 8, we're moving on. Barry Larkin.
Barry Larkin.
Barry Larkin. Barry Lewis Larkin.
The Alan Trammell of Cincinnati.
There you go. Cincinnati Reds his entire career, 86 through 04. 12-time All-Star. World Series champion in 1990. NL MVP in 95. 3-time Gold Glove Award winner. 9-time Silver Slugger Award winner. He won the Roberto Clemente Award. His number 11 for the Reds is retired. He's in the Cincinnati Hall of Fame, and, of course, he's in Cooperstown as well. Lifetime batting average of .295, 2,340 hits, 198 home runs, 960 RBIs, and 379 stolen bases.
You know, I could not remember that Reds team that won the World Series that he was on. I just couldn't remember. What was it, 1993 or something? 1990. I have no recollection of that team.
Yep. Yeah, they were. It was an interesting year anyway. I mean, there was a lot of teams that were on the slide down, if you will, Mets included at that point. Yankees were still fluctuating in their 80s.
Would you like to hear some of the names on that team?
No, they were bad. Griffey wasn't on that team. He wasn't. No.
Griffey Sr.
Yeah. Two.
Here's a few of the guys from the 1990
Learn us.
World Champion Cincinnati Reds. At catcher, Joe Oliver. First base, Todd Benzinger.
Okay.
Mariano Duncan at second. Barry the linchpin Larkin at short. Chris Sabo at third. The inimitable Billy Hatcher in left. Eric Davis in center. And Paul O'Neill in right field.
Mr. O'Neill in right
field. Yeah, they must have had a good pitching staff because that lineup.
Pitching staff, let's see. Oh, and yes, Ken Griffey in a utility role.
Yep.
See? He was.
Well, Hal Morris was on that team.
Senior, Ken Griffey Sr.
Yeah. Well, of course.
Yeah. Herb Winningham.
I thought that wasn't crazy.
Norm Charlton.
Mm-hmm.
Norm Abrams.
Dibble, of course. Randy Myers.
Ron Dibble.
Yep, Rob Dibble.
Rob Dibble.
And Rosario Rodriguez.
All right. Number 7.
There you go.
I mean, maybe the most uninspiring World Series team of all time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just
yeah, but you know what? Dibble was fun.
Dibble was good.
He was insane, but
didn't he go on to be on the Daily Show? Isn't he a stand-up comedian?
He actually he was on the Dan Patrick Show for a while.
He was on the Dan Patrick Show. Yeah.
There you go.
And he was part of Damn Yankees.
He was in Damn Yankees. Yeah, he was the backup drummer.
He was the sixth guitarist.
He was the drummer roadie.
Yeah,
for Damn Yankees.
He connected the cymbals.
He made sure all their wireless headset microphones were working.
Exactly. So, really quick, Samurai from the Beer Podcast says, "Hey, boyos."
Hi.
Hello.
So, hi, Mr. Samurai. All right. Number 8, Mr. Barry Larkin. We'll move on to number 7. Number 7 is Mr. Joe Cronin.
Joe
Cronin played for the Pirates, the Washington Senators, and the Boston Red Sox. Who did the Washington Senators become? Anyone?
RES Speedway?
The Washington Nationals.
The Washington Senators became the Minnesota
Seattle
Twins.
Mariners.
Minnesota Twins.
Joe Cronin was the lead singer of RES Speedwagon, wasn't he?
No, that was his son, Kevin.
Kevin
Cronin. Yeah.
I think it was his
grandson.
It might have been his son.
No, well, yeah. I guess.
Cronin played.
No, it would definitely have been his grandson. It had to be definitely his. I mean, if it was, it was his grandson.
Joe Cronin at shortstop.
No, Cronin could be about 80 right now, couldn't he? Kevin Cronin.
Oh, probably younger than that.
Yeah, but then let's see.
Let's see. Joe Cronin finished his career in 1945.
Number 1, I think their names are spelled differently, but it was a funny joke that we're taking.
No, we're taking way too
far.
But
we're taking something too far? No. Heaven forbid. Anyway, he was on the Pirates, the Senators, and the Red Sox. He actually was a manager with the Senators and the Red Sox as well, while he played, as a matter of fact, as a lot of players back then did. 7-time All-Star. Boston number 4 is retired. He's in the Boston Red Sox Hall of Fame. He's in the Washington Nationals Ring of Honor. And he's in, of course, Cooperstown. Lifetime batting average of .301. 2,285 hits. 170 home runs. 1,426 RBIs as well. So, and a managerial record of percentage of .540. He's a 1236 and 1,055. So that's not bad
And
at all.
by the way, Kevin Cronin's last name is spelled exactly the same.
It is
I believe it was.
And Kevin Cronin was born in 1951. He is 69 years old.
He's 69.
So he's younger than he looks.
And
you think.
According to famous details,
Right.
his father is a blank and his mother unknown at this time.
Well, and this is the rumor that Joe Cronin, the famous shortstop who played for fill in the blank, wrote "Riding the Storm Out."
He did.
Yes.
He wrote "Riding the Storm Out."
While
his grandson Kevin,
while he was on a bus between Milwaukee and Cleveland. So there you go.
Mm-hmm. And I think he had a hand in roll with the changes too, didn't he?
Yes,
I'm pretty sure about that.
Actually,
he was the one who said
riding.
We need tambourine in this.
Riding the Storm Out was written in what state? Actually, I do know this.
Oklahoma.
No, Colorado.
Colorado. There you go. I should have guessed.
Yeah,
anytime there's
I know this
song about a shitty storm, it's usually in Colorado.
There you go. But anyway, so Joseph Edward Cronin,
Joe Cronin.
Joe Cronin.
The dad of Kevin Cronin, and a great shortstop.
What a great shortstop. There we go. All right. Moving on to number 6, Mr. Ernie Banks.
Ernest
Banks, to be exact. Nickname Mr. Cub and Mr. Sunshine. Played a couple years for the Kansas City Monarchs in the Negro Leagues before joining the Cubs in '53. And he played for just shy of 20 seasons, 19 seasons for the Cubs. 14-time All-Star, 2-time National League MVP, Gold Glove Award winner, 2-time National League home run leader, 2-time National League RBI leader. His number 14 with the Cubs is retired. Member of the All-Century team, of course, he's in Cooperstown, having done so since in 1977. Lifetime batting average of .274. 2,583 knocks and 512 home runs.
Yeah.
1,636 RBIs as well.
And, played first base probably a little bit more than shortstop, but we'll put him here at shortstop. He had some bad injuries, which hampered him.
Yeah, he only played first base with his knees.
Early on in his career, yeah.
But the first half of his career...
He actually played first base on his knees, and he was really good.
The first half of his career were his glory years, and then
well, he was still good. Yeah.
Oh, he was still good, but I mean, he had 5 seasons of 40+ home runs between 1960 and 1955.
Yeah, he didn't by any means. He didn't pad his stats at first base.
No,
he actually fell off in a lot of categories, but he did most of what he did at shortstop before moving to first.
Right.
So.
And look, 512 home runs, that's nothing to sneeze at.
No, he's the original kind of slugging shortstop. I mean, you didn't see that back in those days.
No, definitely.
You don't see that nowadays.
You don't even see it now.
Nope.
Yeah, that's for sure. So there you go. Number 6, Mr. Ernie Banks. So let's move on to number 5. Number 5 is Luke Appling. Lucas Benjamin Appling, to be exact. Nickname Old Aches and Pains. That's his nickname. So there you go.
I guess I got to change mine.
There you go. Somebody took it for you. Sorry, it's been copywritten. You can't use it. Played his entire career for the White Sox, 1930 through 1950, with a year off in between. Managed the Athletics, Kansas City Athletics at the time, in 1 year, 67. 7-time All-Star, 2-time American League batting champion. His number 4 with the White Sox is retired. Of course, he's in Cooperstown. Having done so in 64. Lifetime batting average 310. 310.
Almost 3,000 hits, too.
2,749 hits. Only 45 home runs, but he was just he put the ball in play.
Dead ball era.
Dead ball era, absolutely.
This is the new go-to kind of like he was a systems.
He was a systems shortstop, yeah.
Well, listen, he hit 388 1 year, 348 in 1940.
Oh, yeah.
Several years, about 10 seasons, it looks like over 300.
The thing about playing in those parks at that time was that, your home run numbers might be down, but your batting average is probably up because the parks were big and trying to navigate those outfields were crazy. I mean, a lot of doubles.
You weren't going to get home runs, but you were going to get doubles and some triples more than you were going to get home runs.
Quite a bit. Yeah,
absolutely.
He had 440 doubles.
Yeah.
That's a lot of doubles.
That's a lot of doubles. 1,116 RBIs as well. Lucas Benjamin Appling, Luke Appling, number 5 on our list tonight. Number 4, we will bring up number 4 is Ozzie Smith. Osborne Earl Smith, to be exact. Ozzie Smith, nicknamed the Wizard, played for the Padres from 78 to 81, and, of course, the Cardinals from 82 through 96. 15-time All-Star, World Series champ in 82, and National League NLCS MVP in 85. 13-time Gold Glove Award winner, Silver Slugger Award winner, Roberto Clemente Award winner. His number 1 with the Cardinals is retired. He's in the Cardinals Hall of Fame and, of course, in Cooperstown as well in 02. Lifetime batting average of .262, 2,460 knocks, only 28 home runs. But
he was not a slugger, but
Nope, light hitting defensive shortstop.
He made grounding out to third his easiest way of getting a base hit. He was so fast out of the box.
Lightning. It's crazy.
That what would be a normal ground out to short or third, he would beat it out.
He would beat it out.
Then he'd steal second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how many?
580 steals. 580 steals.
Yeah.
580 steals. Yeah. And,
I mean, he played garbage ball. I mean, he was a scrappy, fast, and is defensively probably the best defensive shortstop of all time.
Crazy, insane.
Yeah. His contribution to the team was far more on the defensive side, but
and the intangibles.
And
and the backflip too.
Yeah, absolutely.
True. He was the first and I believe the last person to do a backflip.
I think so.
Yeah.
And he did that running to first and beating out the throw, too.
He did. He did.
He actually stopped, turned around, and did a backflip onto the base.
When they went to tag him, he did a backflip and
over the tag and
onto the bag.
Then he went
that was his motto: over the tag and onto the bag.
Then he went somersault down to second.
He didn't like to get his uniform dirty, so
backhand springs to third.
Instead of sliding, he did a backflip. Yeah.
Right. And he just danced into home plate.
And then just moonwalked into home.
Moonwalked down the home. He taught Michael Jackson how to moonwalk.
Right.
So there you go. Anyway, number 4, Ozzie Smith. Coming up on number 3, Mr. Robin Yount. Robin Yount. Robin R. Yount. Not sure what the R stands for. Maybe it stands for Robin. Who knows? The Kid, or Rockin' Robin, played his entire career for the Milwaukee Brewers, 74 through 93, 20 years. 3-time All-Star, 2-time American League MVP. That's back when the Brewers were in the American League. Gold Glove Award winner, 3-time Silver Slugger Award winner. His number 19 with the Brewers is retired. He's on the American Family Field Walk of Fame. Brewers Wall of Honor. He's in Cooperstown, of course, having done so in 99. Lifetime batting average of .285, 3,142 hits.
Only one of 4 people on this list. I mean, Robin Yount might be, if we're going to do a top 10 list of most overlooked or underappreciated baseball players of all time, I think Robin Yount is on. He's starting at shortstop on that team no matter what. I mean, absolutely.
And I think we should actually do that one day.
I don't think people realize how good those Milwaukee teams were.
They were really good
with Yount and Molitor. I mean, they were really good, and Robin Yount was good year in and year out, and he was probably the best shortstop in the game of that era. I think. I mean, he overlapped a little bit. Yeah. He overlapped a little bit with Ripken. Ripken came a little later. Yeah. He was before Jeter, obviously, but he was, and he overlapped a little bit with Ozzie Smith.
He overlapped for about 10 years with Ripken.
Yeah,
a little less.
But for that period of time in the 80s, there, I think Yount was one of the best in the game.
Yeah, he really was.
Best all-around player in the game.
That's for sure. All right, number 3, Mr. Robin Yount. All right, we get to our tie. Here's our tie. Here's our tie. Harry's upset.
Everybody just listens to conventional wisdom. We love certain players, and we never look and dig into their stats at all or what they actually did. We just take it for granted.
There you go. Well, we're gonna start so Harry can school us on why we were wrong with our picks and where we placed this gentleman. But and he'll make his argument, and that's fine.
And how did you decide who was A and B?
I didn't. There's no A and B. They're tied.
Oh, okay,
they're the
they're
same.
just tied
You want to
together.
do them? You want to do them second? We'll do them second. I don't care.
No, I'm just curious.
They're both in the same place. They're not. The first one we read is not lower than the second one we read. They're even. We just have to read one first, and then the other one is all we have to do. So.
Okay.
So we'll read it first, so we can get into it.
Well, go alphabetically by last name then.
We'll go alphabetically by last name. There you go. Perfect. Number 2.
Does Junior count as the last name?
Junior counts as the last name. So. that would still be.
Yeah, it's still
the R or the U, but the same thing anyway. So, yeah. Number 2, tied for number 2, we'll say, is Mr. Derek Jeter. Number 2, Derek Jeter. Derek Sanderson Jeter, to be exact, played his, of course, entire career for the New York Yankees, 1995 through 2014, 20 seasons that was. 14-time All-Star, 5-time World Series champion. World Series MVP in the year 2000. AL Rookie of the Year in 96. 5-time Gold Glove Award winner. 5-time Silver Slugger Award winner. 2-time Hank Aaron Award, American League Hank Aaron Award. Roberto Clemente Award, New York Yankees captain from 2003 till 2014. Of course, his number 2 is retired with the Yankees, and he's in Monument Park. He's incoming to Cooperstown. Was last year, but he hasn't been enshrined yet because they didn't have the enshrinement last year. Lifetime batting average, here we go, 310. 3,465 hits, 260 home runs, but 1,311 RBIs. Talk to us, Harry.
Well, I think we have to talk about who's also on this list. And look, I don't have a problem with where these numbers finally worked out, because at the end of the day, it's splitting hairs.
Right.
But I do think Jeter suffers a little bit from Yankee hate. And I'm not being a homer here. I'm a Yankees fan. I understand that. But I don't think I've ever placed – maybe I'm harder on some Yankees on some of these lists than I am. And listening to conventional wisdom and what's blown into our ears all the time, I'm like, where is Jeter? He's his top 5. And when I really looked at it, there's no doubt in my mind that Derek Jeter's the best shortstop of all time. Now, why is that? Well, the other 2 people that are going to be on this list, which I don't want to ruin the surprise, what it comes down to really is, I think when you look at Cal Ripken Jr. whose number 2 is tied here, Jeter beats him in every statistic, but yet we love Cal Ripken, much like Mike Schmidt. There's just something. Why is that? I don't know. I don't want to get into why I think it is, but I think we like to make heroes out of certain types of players. And I'm not suggesting that Cal Ripken's not a great player. He's one of the all-time greats. And I think the last 3 on our list could all be number 1 in some ways. However, Derek Jeter played in 158 postseason games and hit over 300. Won 5 World Series. Now, yes, that means that maybe Honus Wagner didn't play on the same teams that Derek Jeter did, and Cal Ripken didn't either. But when you play that well, with that many scenarios, and consistently are coming up clutch in those postseason games, that has a lot of weight to me. And he did. He excelled in those scenarios. You could say that, well, Fran Tarkington was a better quarterback in the regular season than Tom Brady. Well, that's great. But Tom Brady has more rings because he played really well in big games. And yes, baseball is a team sport. And yes, for many years there, the Yankees had more talent than a lot of other players. But within all of that talent, Derek Jeter was the best player on the team. And he consistently was the best player on that team year in and year out. And he has 5 rings. And he would have had 6 if it wasn't for a sawed-off, broken bat, cheap single off Mariano Rivera in 2001. So that's why.
Don't hold back. Tell us how you feel about that.
That's why he's on this list. Because no one else on this list has more than 1. And half the guys we're talking about here have 0.
Right.
So that's Derek Jeter.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I get your point. I do. I really, really do. And I said this to you prior to the show too. And what you said was perfect. as far as your analogy, your comparison there. But
my
again,
analysis,
your analysis,
the deep analysis,
deep analysis. But should those other players be faulted because their GMs and their owners didn't put the same team around them?
In this scenario, when you look at Jeter and Ripken, Jeter has better regular season numbers than Ripken. So, okay, you could say, well, was Ripken better defensively? Because Jeter's 5-6 Gold Gloves, or whatever he was, and amazing plays. That doesn't mean anything. All right, so let's give that to him. So then let's look. Now, Ripken did fairly well, very well in the postseason. I think they both did well. Jeter just did it for a much longer time. In 100, the fact that he played in 158 postseason games alone should bring him to the top of this list.
All right. Well, I like I said, I understand what you're saying.
And it wasn't like he
comparing the
off.
numbers here.
It wasn't like he tailed off. He also hit. Jeter hit 310 lifetime. Ripken hit 276. Yes, Ripken had 300 more RBIs and quite a bit. Almost doubled him in home runs.
Right.
But Jeter had 300 more hits, and he played one less year than Ripken. So, he's a 14-time All-Star. Yeah. I think that his legend gets diminished because there's so many people who hate the Yankees. And I think Ripken's legend gets sort of risen because he's this hero and kind of the last bastion of old school baseball in a lot of ways.
Gotcha.
And Ripken's great, and his consecutive game streak should be commended, and I think it's wonderful. But I don't think playing...
Which will never be broken.
Yeah, and that's great.
Ever be broken.
Well, especially nowadays.
That's my point.
Yeah,
everybody needs the 5th day off because they got to go sun themselves.
Yeah,
so.
And
get a culotta and relax.
Jeter and Rip. If Jeter didn't break his leg, he might have played 2 more years.
Right.
But it took breaking his leg to get him out of the game.
Right.
They're both great, and Ripken, I would argue, maybe consistently overall had more range in his prime than Jeter did. But Jeter's performance in the postseason is what legends are made of. And there's very few people who have performed as well in the postseason as Derek Jeter. And he's got 5 rings. 5.
Fair enough. Let's pause on that. Let's bring in our other number 2, the tie. Read those stats, and then we'll do some comparison back and forth. All right. It's going to be no shock to anybody. Number 2, also tied for number 2, is Mr. Cal Ripken Jr. All right. Calvin Edwin Ripken Jr., the Iron Man nickname. What's his nickname? Played his entire career for the Baltimore Orioles, 1981 through 2001. 19-time All-Star, World Series champion in 83, 2-time American League MVP, American League Rookie of the Year in 82, 2-time Gold Glove Award winner, 8-time Silver Slugger Award winner. He also won the Roberto Clemente Award, Major League Baseball record. Again, 2,632 consecutive games played. His number 8 is retired with the Orioles. He's in the Orioles Hall of Fame. He's in the Major League Baseball All-Century team. Of course, he's in Cooperstown, having done so in 2007. Lifetime batting average, 276, a little lower. Hits 3,184 knocks. Home runs, 431, and 1,695 RBIs. So he has, like I said, 19 All-Star appearances, and they were straight. They were his other than his call-up year and his rookie year, he was in the All-Star game every year he played, 83 through 2001. He's World Series champion in 83, so he has 1 ring. 2-time American League MVP. I'm not putting Mr. Derek Jeter down. I think he's one of the best players in Major League Baseball history. I definitely think he belongs right where he is on the list. But he wasn't. So it's 2 things, 2 MVP awards, league MVP awards that Jeter doesn't have there. He
got a World Series MVP award though.
He does, absolutely. No, you're right. He was in 7 World Series and won 5 of them.
Mm-hmm.
But AL Rookie of the Year again too. 2-time Silver Slugger. 2-time Gold Glove Award. Jeter has 5. 8-time Silver Slugger Award winner.
Which is surprising. I think Ripken. That's why Gold Gloves, I'm not sure, are great. Ripken should have had more than
he
two
should have
Gold
more
Gloves.
than 2 Gold Glove awards. Absolutely. No, I agree with that. But between those 2 awards, they both had 10. If you want to look at it like that, they both won a Roberto Clemente Award. Obviously, his consecutive games played is another story. But
you're going to take either of them on your team, no matter what.
Yeah. If they're both there, I'll take both, obviously. But they're. I think it's actually I think it's serendipitous, if you will, that they are tied for second. And I know we had some discussion about who number 1 is. I do believe he should be number 1, but we'll discuss what you feel about that when we get there. But that's the tie right there. Number 2 with Derek Jeter tied.
And look, I think they could all easily be number 1.
As you said, they could all be number 1. We have a comment here. Let's just see what it says. John Donovan says he was overrated because he was a Yankee. That helped him more than Yankee hatred hurt him.
He was overrated, yeah. I mean, his numbers, overrated numbers, 305. Let's see. Let's look at his postseason awards. 158 games, 111 runs, 200 hits. 200 hits. I think that's more than Luke Appling had in his career. Okay? He had 20 home runs, 61 RBIs, a 308 batting average, a 374 on-base percentage, and a 465 slugging percentage in the postseason.
So what you're saying is you don't agree with the fact that he was overrated, is what you're saying.
No, he's not overrated. That's the problem. That's the problem. But we've been sold that he's overrated.
I don't think. Here's my thing. I'm not gonna say you're right, but what I'm gonna say is this: I don't think that there's as much Yankee hatred out there as you think it is when it comes to Derek Jeter. All right, there is Yankee hatred out there. I'm going to give you that, but I don't think there's as much out there as you think there is when it specifically comes to Derek Jeter. There's many teams out there and fans out there.
1,000%. I think he's one of the most hated Yankees of all time.
I don't know about that. There's much more hated Yankees.
Because of what he was on the field, because of what he was off the field, he was Mr. Perfect. He never did anything wrong.
So the jealousy is making them hate?
Yes. They're going to hate.
I don't see it. You're
going to hate Derek Jeter more than.
Right. I agree. And you could say, okay, I don't have him as number 1, but to say that he's overrated proves that it's just bullshit. There's nothing overrated about Jeter. Nothing. There's nothing overrated about him. Who's better on this list?
No, who's better than
Honus Wagner? Honus Wagner. All right, we'll get to him in a second.
All right.
He's fantastic.
You gave it away, you pain in the ass.
Yeah.
All right. You screwed up the list. Forget it. I'm going home.
I mean,
All right.
All right.
Phil Rizzuto was a better Yankee shortstop.
Can I give you my 2 cents on this?
Go for it, yeah.
All right. You can go through the stats between Ripken and Jeter, and one had more this, one had more that, one, look at all those things. Jeter probably comes out a little bit on top as far as regular season goes. Harry, I understand your argument about the postseason, but there's such a disparity of the sample size here that I can't give that as much weight as you do.
I do because he did it for the sample size. Because he was
but I'm saying
good in 100.
I understand that. But by that reasoning, anybody who went to the playoffs and really even was pretty good is going to have an advantage over a guy who never got to the playoffs.
Well, and Ripken got to the playoffs.
Well, right, but I'm saying not nearly
not anywhere near as often
as Jeter did, which was as much, I think, a product of the teams that Jeter was on as it was the fact that he was on them. He was a great player on great teams. So I can't say, he has all this postseason greatness and World Series greatness, and therefore he's just greater, because those two things don't compare between him and Ripken. I can't discount it, but I don't give it as much weight as
I don't discount it either. What I'll say really quick, I'll say this: if he was, and I'm not saying this in a negative way, so understand what I'm saying. If he was the only ridiculously good player on the team, and they won the 5 World Series because of his play in those World Series, and specifically almost only because of his play in those World Series, he'd be number 1, hands down. He was an amazing player, especially in the postseason. ridiculously in the postseason. But he had such an amazing team around him every single time they got there for that sample size, for those 14 years. I mean, from, you want to say 96 through 09, those World Series years, with a few obviously taken out in between, but and all the postseason appearances that they had. He had such an amazing cast around him that it didn't take. I'm not saying it took away from what he did, but I think that's what Pete was saying with the sample size. What were some of the other stars that could have lasted that long with Cal Ripken?
Yeah, I mean, it's Baltimore, and it's in the American League, so I wouldn't. And that was years ago too.
Let's dig into that a little bit. Okay, let's dig into that a little bit.
I'd be interested
because the Yankees did have some other stars, but they did not perform nearly as well as Jeter did in the postseason. So the biggest star the Yankees had, besides Jeter, was A-Rod.
Okay, but let me finish.
A-Rod had one really good postseason outing. The rest of them was horrible.
Right.
Bernie Williams was really good in the postseason, but he was not as. Then the Yankees had a lot of guys like Scott Brocious who came up big. Yes, Tito Martinez was great. Did not perform nearly as well as Jeter did in the postseason. So yeah,
did you say Tatum O'Neal?
Tatum O'Neal was much better earlier in their career.
Right.
And to say that Ripken had no talent is
I'm not
just
saying
not
he didn't
true.
have any talent. Nobody said that.
No, not at all.
And what I would say in response to what you just said is, yes, we have the benefit of hindsight and seeing that big sample size and saying these guys didn't really play that well. But in the moment when you're in the World Series and you're facing Tatum O'Neal, or any of those guys, you're not thinking, boy, this guy really sucks in the postseason. You're thinking, I better not make a mistake. If you're a pitcher, you think I better not make a mistake or he's going to park one. So, you're right. They didn't perform that well, but that's collectively we can look back at that.
Everything you said is 100% on, spot on.
And
You can't deny it at all.
Ripken was also good in the postseason. That's my point here. Is that's why, I think the sample size is exactly my point. Where dismissing that sample size, I think, is short-sighted. But that's just the disagreement we have.
Mm-hmm. No,
I think it's just like I said. I think we weight it differently. Nobody's dismissing it, but you put more weight on it, and I put a little bit less. It's kind of the what the hell was it last week? I think we were talking about the intangibles.
Right.
I kind of put a little bit more weight on the intangibles, and you're more like baked into the numbers.
I'm not baked into the numbers because I think
I'm not saying
there's nobody with higher intangibles than Derek Jeter. There's nobody. I mean, he is Mr. Intangibles. He's Mr. November and Mr. Intangibles.
I forget who it was. Who were we talking about last week?
Probably Mike Schmidt, because I also think Schmidt is equivalent to Cal Ripken here, where everybody just assumes he's the best third baseman of all time. And I mean, if you really look at the career, Brett was a better third baseman. I feel the same way about Jeter than I do. Now, I think, again, it's a lot closer, I think, with Ripken and Jeter. And if we're going to weigh the regular season, then I think it's a wash to some degree, because Ripken had more. They were both power hitters, relatively speaking, comparing shortstops. Right. Ripken was obviously the first, guy who was able to hit for power, RBIs, and be that sort of quintessential shortstop. He was really the first one to sort of change that position in a lot of ways. And Jeter didn't have the home run capability that he also hit higher in the lineup. He was a bit more of a kind of get on base and score kind of guy than Ripken.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When it comes to that,
if you look down like the row of stats, right, all the typical numbers, both of those guys' careers. Well, Ripken's up in this one, Jeter's up in this one. It's a fairly even split. Jeter maybe comes out. I think he comes out a little bit ahead, maybe in two more categories, but kind of the big. If you delve a little deeper into just beyond the biggest categories, they kind of split things. You look at stolen bases,
let me ask you this.
I agree. It's kind of a wash in the regular.
Let me ask you this, okay? If Jeter hit 225 in the postseason and the Yankees won 2 World Series and he lost 5, would you hold that against him?
If all the other numbers were the same?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Would he?
Maybe he falls a spot, but maybe not. You know,
I think you would.
If his numbers,
I don't think so because are we assuming that the other Yankees performed the way they did?
Yeah, because here's the thing: in 7 World Series, they won 5 and lost 2. If Jeter performs a little, what would he was what did he? I guess Pete's mad. He left.
Pete fell off his chair.
He fell off his chair. What did Jeter hit in the postseason? Was it
305.
305. So if he
308, I'm sorry.
308. Okay. So if he hit, oh geez, would you say 235?
225?
238. So if he hit like 70 percentage points less in the postseason, but his numbers across the board everywhere else were identical to what they were
in the regular season.
But everybody else that played in the postseason performed the way they did, they're not going to lose 5 of those games just because Jeter's hitting 70 percentage points.
No, but my point being is that, and I think a lot of Derek Jeter's status is tied in with the championships. You know, when we rank the top quarterbacks of all time,
right,
we don't say that, well, Dan Marino's numbers were better than Tom Brady, so I'm going to put him higher. We don't dismiss the postseason the way we do a little bit with baseball. So my point being is that if Jeter had no World Series wins, and the Yankees only made it to the World Series twice and lost twice, okay, then no, he's maybe not even in the top 10.
I don't know about that. If his numbers were identical and his career was as long as it was, and he did everything in the regular season that he did the exact same way, I don't think that he's definitely not out of the top 10. But I don't even think he's even. I
think he would be criticized more. I think that he gets criticized more. And I think his postseason numbers get dismissed, but I am positive that if they were not as stellar as they were, they would be criticized more. And
let me ask you this: the 308 that he hit, that's postseason numbers or World Series numbers?
Postseason. I think he also hit higher in the World Series.
That's what I'm asking you. What was his World Series average?
I don't know. Let's look it up real quick.
That's what I'm saying. So check it out. Go to the stats. Let's go to the stats. Jimmy, get on that. Where's
Jimmy? Give us the World Series stats for Derek Jeter.
The baseball reference site is so good.
Yeah, that is.
Oh, yeah.
Baseballreference.com. Yeah. Every stat you could ever want is right there.
He played in all right, Jesus Christ. He hit 321 in the World Series. Had a 384 on base percentage, a 449 slugging percentage, and an OPS of 832
in the World Series,
and that's 7 World Series.
7 World Series.
He scored 32 runs in the World Series. Okay,
I want to see stats, and I don't want you to look for them now. We'll have to look for them. We'll bring them up next week or something like that. I want to see stats, comparative stats for World Series. For sample sizes that big or whatever, because there were other players that did play that many. A lot of them are Yankees,
right?
And not just from that era, years
and Braves,
before.
Yankees and Braves,
right. But
Jones, yeah.
Right. But I want.
Yeah, there's not too many guys not nearly as many guys in the Braves that are going to have.
I mean, Jeter almost scored in the regular season. He almost scored 2,000 runs. I mean, look, I don't know. I think it's a toss-up. However, he, in a lot of lists, he's 6th, 7th, he's 5th, and
I don't. I looked at a lot of lists. I don't agree with that.
It's just default that Cal Ripken's the best ever, and I just don't.
Well, I didn't have him. I don't have Cal Ripken as the best shortstop ever.
I know,
but
I think he's top 3. And like I said, I don't argue. My point is that I think Jeter should be at least talked about in the same breath as him, and for some reason, I don't know why Jeter. It's like, okay, Magic Johnson played with a lot of really good players. So did Larry Bird. Even Michael Jordan played with a lot of really good players. Mm-hmm. They don't get dismissed because they were on good teams.
No, of course not. Of course
not. Kobe
I'm not
Bryant,
dismissing.
I'm not saying you are. People. I am saying that a lot of what I've read, mm-hmm. it's out there. There is a little bit of let's chip away at Jeter because he's Derek Jeter, and because you can't necessarily, other than maybe some of his decisions with the Marlins, you can't really find the fault in Jeter.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Well, and listen, he's number 2 on this show. I don't know what the hell you're bitching about.
I will
because I really do think he should be considered the number 1.
I will say this. It wasn't, for me, it wasn't a clear he was 3 and Ripken was 2. Right. It was not clear. It was close. It couldn't honestly have been any closer than any other list that we've done. For me, looking at stats, deciding who was number 2 and who was number 3. It was right there. And it one thing goes to the other, it could have been switched. I still put who I had in first, there, and we'll get to him. We got to give him his due in a couple of minutes or a couple of seconds or whatever.
Mention
his name and move on. But
Lindsey Wagner,
yeah, right. But Lindsey, yeah, there you go.
The bionic.
Number 1 was this guy. Dude, had the stats that'll blow your freaking mind away. But
in any event, he was right there. But yeah, and just as a quick throwback to what I said before about other fans thinking or hating on Derek Jeter as much as other Yankees. And I will say this because people are
saying the journalists.
No, right. Oh, no. Well, I agree with you there. But as far as other fans go and other fan bases or whatever, I know as a fan base, people bash all the Yankees. And they'll bash Jeter, and they'll hate on Jeter, they'll hate on the Yankees and everything else. I've spoken to people throughout the years from different fan bases about, not specifically Derek Jeter, but his name came up, and we've talked about it. And I can tell you, I can probably quote probably a couple of dozen that would tell you if they were with a bunch of fans, like-minded fans, they're going to hate on him. But one-on-one, they're like, no, Derek Jeter's great. That kind of a thing. And that's what I meant, what I was saying before. But journalists and media, absolutely.
I don't care about the fans because most fans don't know what they're talking about.
So, I'm specifically referring to a couple people that actually did know what they were talking about.
Jimmy from Syosset. I don't care what
Jimmy from Syosset. Well, he was a long time caller, Jimmy from Syosset. So. But in any event,
I'm just saying there is a little bit of this. I don't know. There's a little bit of chipping away there going on.
I gotcha. Well, I agree with you on the media part because I did look at a lot of other lists, and I totally thought that they were honestly, they were horseshit. They were horseshit. One of them had Jeter 8th or 9th. One of them 7th. What are you smoking? Yeah. He's not that low.
And I get it. If you really dig into the stats, he's overrated.
Well, listen, he's just another in a long line of system
shortstop.
From Phil Rizzuto to Bucky Dent to Derek Jeter to
Didi
Glaber.
Sounds like
and coming soon, Trevor Story.
Systems shortstop.
There you go.
Rizzuto to Dent to Jeter to Torres.
There you go.
Yeah. Only one of
them. A line.
Only one of them has ever hit over 250.
Well, listen, I will say this.
Didi was on track to be maybe the second best Yankee shortstop of all time.
Well, then
I will say this. I love these ties because they spark the best debates we have on this show.
Absolutely. I agree. 100%. That's why they're great.
If we agreed on everything, it would be boring.
It's like,
we get done a lot.
And the number one is, all right, so we move on. Yeah.
See, I make the mistake of giving my list first most weeks.
I certainly don't. My list was done on Saturday.
And so
my list was done on Saturday.
I don't think that's a mistake.
And so, because then you can react to it. So,
no, because
had I seen your two lists, I may have adjusted something. Because I'll tell you something.
You may have put Cal Ripken at 10 because it would have
no, but I'll tell you what. Robin Yount's not that far off from Cal Ripken to me.
No, I had him at 4.
Yeah.
I had him at 4.
I will say this, Harry. I don't do what you're semi-accusing.
No, I know. I'm just joking.
But what I tell you why I do like seeing your list, because there's always a couple names that I have never heard, and I have to look up. And then I go, oh, wow, look at this guy. He was really good, even though he played in 1734.
I know. I do dig into.
You are
I take out my old baseball cards.
Yeah, you are the digger of graves, man.
Absolutely.
So
folks,
that's a good thing about seeing your list first.
Exactly. And hey, who else between the three of us had Archie Vaughan? You know,
that's right.
So
I'm telling you, he legitimately would have been my number 11.
Well, I'll tell you who didn't make my list. Who was close? Archie Vaughan, Pee Wee Reese, Jimmy Rollins.
Sure, Rollins, yeah.
And there was one other that I didn't write down.
And one other Smith.
Yeah,
that was his name.
And Rizzuto.
And well, yeah, sure. Well, he might be coming up in a little bit.
He might have
a spot tonight. So we'll get to that in a second. Well, anyway, 25 minutes later, number 2 tied with Derek Jeter, Cal Ripken Jr. All right. So drum roll, please. Number 1 on our list this evening, Mr. Honus Wagner.
The best name other than Archie Vaughan.
Johannes
Archie Vaughan and Honus Wagner would have been number 1 and 2.
Johannes Peter Wagner. Honus was a nickname, and sometimes Hans was a nickname too, but Honus is the traditional nickname for this gentleman. He played for the Louisville Colonials. Actually, not the Colonials, the Colonels, the Louisville Colonels, pardon me, from 1897 to 1899, and then he played for the Pirates from 1900 to 1917.
Not the Pittsburgh Pirates, actual Pirates.
He was
a pirate on a ship.
He was in the Caribbean, absolutely. He played there, and it's very difficult to play baseball on a schooner. It cut into his career. Yeah. Some people, took time off for World War II. He took time off to be a pirate. So a lot of rum those days. Anyway, he was the manager of the Pirates in his last year of playing as well in 1917, and he was a coach. He was a coach for the Pirates from 1933 to 1951. 1951. He was in his late 70s, and he was coaching on the Pirates. World Series champion in 2009, 8-time National League batting champion, 5-time National League RBI leader, 5-time National League stolen base leader. His Pittsburgh Pirates number 33 is retired. Remember the All-Century team and the All-Time team. Of course, he's in Cooperstown, having been there since 1936. Lifetime batting average, 329. Lifetime hits, 3,430. 101 home runs. RBIs, 1,732 RBIs. And 722 stolen bases. Insane numbers. I mean, you have to admit, just ridiculously insane numbers.
And here's another one, too. A couple of them. At-bats. We'll go with at-bats. They have plate appearances and at-bats, but I guess we'll go with at-bats. 10,439, 735 strikeouts.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
That's pretty ridiculous.
That's right. I mean, some guys strike out that much in one season.
I was going to say, if Giancarlo Stanton didn't get hurt all the time, he would beat that this year.
Yeah. I mean, to go to bat 10,000 plus times
and only strike out 700
strike out less than closer to 700 than 800.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he was also the manager.
Yeah. Like 7% of the time he struck out, but that was at 7%.
And he also ran the concession stand.
He did. Well, yeah. And sometimes he was on first base and had to go make a hot dog for somebody. So
that's
it was ridiculous.
That's only when they were playing Babe Ruth.
Right, exactly. But he led the league in slugging 6 times and led the league in stolen bases 5 times. Another nickname, Flying Dutchman, too, by the way.
The Flying Dutchman.
He was a big dude, too, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Oh, geez, I had it here.
I thought he was like
5'11". No, 5'11", 200 pounds.
I thought I got it confused.
Well, for back then, that was a big dude.
Yeah. Back then that was 6'4" back in 1873.
Ty Cobb himself called Wagner maybe the greatest star ever to take the diamond.
Yeah,
that came from Ty Cobb.
And he won the Triple Crown once, I think, right?
I believe so. Yes, I believe
1908, back in 1908.
1908.
And
that's not that long ago.
He was one of the first 5 members inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame.
He only hit 354 that year.
He was He was the second highest. He received the second highest vote total behind Ty Cobb and Babe Ruth. So Ty Cobb, Babe Ruth, and Honus Wagner.
A lot of people say he's one of those guys that's on the Mount Rushmore of baseball.
Absolutely.
And I don't disagree with that.
Listen, if it wasn't for all that pirate hatred out there, then
that's right.
There was
what were the Louisville Pirates?
The Louisville Colonels.
Louisville Colonels.
Pittsburgh. And what's funny too is it has it listed as the Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh Pirates. Pittsburgh without the H and Pittsburgh with the H.
Really?
So apparently there were two different towns that the Pirates were in. So
he was going to come back for the 1977.
Like the early 1900s, Pittsburgh didn't have an H, and then they added the H later, and that changed the name of the team.
But he wasn't a big fan of Kool and the Gang. So
he was not. No, he was not. He did not like Kool and the Gang.
But he was in Night Ranger.
He did like. Well, he was a founding member.
That's right.
Exactly. He didn't. He was not happy with the move to
the G,
to
the H. He didn't like the H added in Pittsburgh.
He didn't like the H added in Pittsburgh. No, he's not a big fan of that.
No.
So anyway, that's
because he didn't want to pay to get the uniforms redone.
He did not.
That's right.
It would have been really expensive to do that.
A lot of H's.
Too many H's. What they could have done is just add the H's to the existing uniforms.
That's right.
That would have made the smartest thing. But nope, they had to go out and get all
H's.
new uniforms.
H's or H's.
Yeah, but then the H would have been like under.
It would have been
arm.
off to the side because
it would have been under their arm. So.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What team do you play for?
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh
with an H. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, he had a lot of H's. Second most hits on this list.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Insane. So there you go. Our number one shortstop in Major League Baseball history, with a little debate, Honus Wagner. There you go. That is our list for this evening. Any last comments you want to put on the how things came out, or you?
No, I mean, my question. 2 questions for you guys. Do you ever think we'll see a player manager again?
No.
And number 2, do you think there's any shortstops playing today that could potentially be on this list in, say, 10 years?
To unseat somebody that's on the list we just did?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I mean, just because of the state of the game right now, because of the days off, the parity in the league, both leagues, a lot of reasons, but it would be very difficult. It would take a really incredibly talented shortstop to unseat somebody.
Yeah, I mean, Ozzie Smith would not be able to play in today's game.
No.
A
lot of these guys wouldn't.
Yeah, a lot of them, almost all of them. I mean, what I like about this list is that everybody on this list was a complete player. They weren't just hitting home runs. I mean, these guys were great hitters, great fielders. They were, and that's not always the case. That's not always the case. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of them were, and most of these guys. Well, did all of these guys, all 10 of them, play their entire career for the same team?
No, a couple of guys. Let's see.
Pretty close, though.
Pretty close, though.
I think closer than any other list.
Archie Vaughan, 2 teams. Alan Trammell, 2 teams.
That's right. Trammell did go
to the Diamondbacks for
okay. But the vast majority, they didn't. Count. The vast majority of these
Kevin
guys,
Cronin's grandfather played on 3 teams.
Yeah, if a guy played 21 years and he played 20 of them on one team, that.
Yeah, no, most of them one team. Team.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if anybody.
Barry Larkin started with the Padres for a couple of years, and then he went to the Cards.
Yeah, that was right. That was a big.
Because of Reds, you mean?
Reds.
Yeah, anybody in the modern game who would get close to this with the limited opportunities and the way pitching is done, and you don't pitch that, you don't face that tired pitcher who's trying to get through 7 anymore.
Right? That's true.
They would have to hit so well to kind of rack up these numbers.
Sure.
Because of
and
limited opportunities too,
and
with
I
days
think,
off and all that.
Yeah, and I think some of these guys, it's too early to tell. I mean, there's a lot of hype with what's his name in San Diego, but I mean, he's in his 3rd year, 2nd year.
Yeah.
So Lindor, sure, Trevor, maybe, but I think you're right. I just think that the consistency. That's the other thing is that if you look at a lot of guys this year who were leading the league in hitting last year, a lot of them are down significantly this year, numbers wise.
Oh, it's across the league. We've talked
it's
about
across the league, but back then it just seemed like these guys were really consistent. You didn't see some guy hit 320, 363 one year and then go down to 250. You know, they were really consistently good with baseball players.
Yeah. And with changes in lineups and changes in teams, you know, you might be on a pretty decent team where you have a little protection in the lineup, and you know, you might not be the best hitter on the team, but you're the guy that they pitch to, and you're a pretty good hitter. And then you get traded, or you go somewhere in free agency, which is your own fault, and suddenly you're not really on a good team, and you don't have much protection, and nobody's, you know. So
that's another thing about this list too, and this is definitely probably the most consistency with one team list that we've done. There's been a lot of other lists that players have been jumping around or whatever, but I think that plays into this a lot as far as the consistency goes, because there's not, you know, free agency, moving around, jumping from this team to that team. I mean, there's players that are really good that have played on 5 teams. And, you know, back then, they're that good. They're playing on one team. They're not going anywhere.
But if you've got the same, you know, 3 or 4 or 5 guys kind of around you,
right,
you know, for a number of years, you get in a groove, right? You get kind of a set lineup. You know, all that sort of that consistency and that repetition,
absolutely,
you know, leads to greater success, I think.
Well, and you stay on the team for better or worse. I mean, that's the reason why I think 5 out of these 10 didn't win a World Series. It's because they sometimes never had a chance to win a World Series.
Right. Yeah.
So,
but they weren't jumping off and going somewhere.
They weren't chasing
a better chance to do that. They said, we're going to do it right here.
They weren't calling up their agent and saying, hey, get me on that team because I want to win it.
Send me to the Dodgers. Yeah.
Right. So anyway, all right.
Or the Padres this year.
This year, yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. Well, why don't we bring this podcast into the segment of Old Balls.
Old Balls.
Harry, tell us who Old Balls is this week.
This week's recipient of Old Balls is, holy cow, Phil Rizzuto. Philip Francis Rizzuto, as we knew and loved him, the Scooter, Yankee shortstop. He was born in 1917 and passed away in 2007, just shy of his 90th birthday. He played for the New York Yankees from 41 to 42 and then 46 to 56. He was born in Brooklyn, New York, to Calabrian parents, and was a 5-time All-Star, a 7-time World Series champion, the American League MVP in 1950, and is a member of the Yankees Hall of Fame and is in Monument Park. I don't believe he is in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
He is.
He is, okay.
He is. The Veterans Committee voted him in 1994.
There you go. Well, he is in the Hall of Fame. See how much I did not get down there. He is, you know, when he retired, his 1,217 career double plays ranked second in Major League history, trailing only Luke Epling, who was on our list, and his 968 career fielding average trailed only Lou Boudreau's mark of .973 among American League shortstops. He was the king of small ball. He was an excellent fielder and was a guy who was known to do anything possible to get on base or move a runner over. And for years, yes, kids, they used to bunt in baseball. And Phil Rizzuto was brought in to teach people how to bunt because he may have arguably been the best bunter in the game. He, I think, became more famous after his playing career, being the Yankees announcer and the voice of the Yankees with Bill White. He was a knucklehead, to use his own words. He was incredibly funny, a little spacey at times, a little bit of a combination of Yogi Berra and I don't know who else. But he was maybe the most entertaining color man I've ever listened to in baseball. Mm. And I've never heard anybody get more excited about ground rule fly balls or ground rule, ground balls or routine fly balls. Every hit off the bat, you think it was a home run listening to him announce the game. And usually it was just, fly out to right. in 1950, he won the most valuable player after being a runner-up the year before to Ted Williams. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's kind of a big thing considering the teams that he played on. He's one of those guys who goes down on those great Yankee teams. He obviously falls in the shadow of the DiMaggios and the Mantles and the other people that he played with, Yogi Berra and Whitey Ford. But Phil Rizzuto was a really important part of that team, and maybe the best defensive shortstop the Yankees have ever had.
Yeah, he was definitely good, and he did find success later on in life, singing back up to Meatloaf.
Well, yeah, they used a recorded, they cut and pasted samples before samples existed of him announcing a game. And it did. I mean, that did certainly raise his profile.
Holy cow! I think he's gonna make it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh no, he's not. No, he's not.
No, he's not. Stop right there. There you go.
I'll tell you this: that listening to Phil Rizzuto on the radio was really entertaining because for some reason the combination of him and Bill White made the game a little bit more understandable because there was a tension between the two of them, with Bill White sort of straight man, fact-driven, accuracy, and Rizzuto's over-the-top sort of homerism for the Yankees. And sure. As a kid, I just remember it made it really fun to listen to baseball on the radio. In fact, sometimes before Rizzuto and White went to the TV announcing booth, I would watch it on TV and listen to it on the radio because the radio broadcast was just that much more entertaining.
It was.
Yeah, Rizzuto on TV always reminded me of like an old Vegas lounge singer.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
he just kind of had that look.
He's kind of like Jerry. He was kind of like Jerry Lewis and Yogi Berra mixed together. He was. I mean,
Jerry Lewis and Yogi Berra.
Yeah, I mean, he had the sort of, I don't think when he talked, he wasn't as clever as Yogi.
Jerry Berra.
But he had some famous, sayings for sure.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
And he was just a nice guy. And
Ty Cobb actually named him and Stan Musial as two of the few modern ball players who could hold their own among old timers. A lot of Ty Cobb namings and quotes and stuff like that. I think the funniest story though is Yankees manager, Casey Stengel, when he was managing the Dodgers, dismissed Rizzuto during a tryout for the Dodgers in 1935 and told him he should go get a shoe shine box. So obviously he ate crow on that one.
Yeah.
But
and I think there were a lot of people who heard him on the radio and saw him on TV who, maybe were a little younger and didn't realize, as you were saying, Harry, what a great player he was.
Right.
Some of those were murderers row kind of teams, and he was right in the midst of it. He was not, the weak hitting, guy who the rest of the team carried. He held his own.
And he was a hell of a base runner and he scored a lot of runs. I mean, he was the guy that a lot of those guys drove in. Here's a quote that sums up Phil Rizzuto. I quote here, I like radio better than television because if you make a mistake on radio, they don't know. You can make up anything on radio.
Well, I often wonder, you were talking about, getting excited about a fly ball. Maybe he just didn't have good eyesight.
Yeah, no, his glasses were as big as my head.
Yeah, so he thought everything was going out, and then it was
the original Coke
10
bottle
feet
glasses.
in front of the track. So
absolutely.
Here's some other Phil Rizzuto quotes because I think they are. He was just one of these. I don't know. He's sort of a Americana in some ways. Phil Rizzuto. I'll take any way to get into the Hall of Fame. If they want a bat boy, I'll go in as a bat boy.
There you go.
I'm glad I don't play anymore. I could never learn all of those handshakes. There was an aura about Joe DiMaggio. He walked like no one else walked. He did things so easily. He was immaculate in everything he did. Kings of State wanted to meet him and be with him. He carried himself so well. He could fit in any place in the world. But yeah, I mean, he was,
he was real.
He was very real.
He was real.
Totally. So, well, there you go. this week's Old Balls. Mr. Phil Rizzuto. There you go. Cool.
All right, thanks, folks. By the way, NBA and the NHL have playoffs. Well, we'll see you next week.
Top 10 DHs of all time.
Top 10, no, not yet. There you go. So let's do let's do a little NBA. I mean, there are playoff games going on, right?
I think so.
Really good playoff games. The Knicks are up by 6, by the way.
Knicks are up by 6. Well, hopefully it's not like the other day.
Yeah, let's hope not.
Let's hope.
And the Sixers are making minced meat out of the Wizards. Although I did read that Tobias Harris went down with an injury, so I don't know what that's all about.
Oh, he did? I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we were talking about baseball kind of getting to where we thought it would get to, and these playoffs are in the NBA are sort of headed that way, at least in some of the instances.
Sort of. I think the surprise, really, to me so far, is the Memphis Grizzlies, and we'll see if we'll see if Donovan Mitchell comes back tonight, and if because Ja Morant just had both in the play-in games as well as that first game against the Jazz, he has been unbelievable.
Yeah.
And Luka Doncic, unbelievable, up 2-0 against the Clippers. Not a big surprise, but pretty big surprise. I think most people thought the Clippers are gonna win that series, and they may still, but there's something in the Clippers that I just don't think that they believe that they're going to beat this team. Yeah. I mean, for Dallas to go into LA, granted, home court doesn't mean a ton right now, but for them to go into LA and win the first 2 games, it's going to be a tough series for the Clippers to come back and win. And if they do, they're going to be worn out from the next series.
Yeah, but they might be one of those teams that gets better when the pressure's on. When the pressure's on, when the hole gets deeper.
Oh, they didn't last year.
Well, no, but they were up, right?
They were up.
They're the opposite of that.
True.
Well, listen, if this year holds true and things fall kind of along the lines they are so far, we will know that it really wasn't Doc.
Right.
Like you didn't even get to 3-0 without Doc.
No.
I think coaches are a lot like players nowadays in that you have to go to a team where the players are going to fit in with your system. And let's face it, Paul George is not going to buy into Doc Rivers' system. Now, Doc Rivers coaching younger guys in Embiid and Simmons, he's been a godsend to the Sixers. And look, they held the Wizards to 95 points tonight. When you're holding a team under 100 these days, you're playing good defense. And the Sixers and the Knicks are probably the 2 most improved teams on the defensive side of the ball in the NBA. Mm-hmm. And the only other guy who I think really preaches defense that much is Mike Malone of the Nuggets. Nuggets didn't play great defense in game 1. They played really good defense in game 2. And so that series is tied up. I've been loving these playoff games. I think these games have been great. Milwaukee looks strong. I think, that first Knicks-Hawk game, it didn't go the way I wanted it to, but it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. And I think every game in that series is going to be a tight one.
Let me bring that up for a second. As far as that Knicks-Hawks game on Sunday night, how do you feel about the speculation or whatever that was going on after the fact, as far as what everybody was talking about as far as the officiating?
I thought there was bad calls on both sides, and
there were bad calls. There were a lot of bad calls on both sides, but fouls in game 1 for the first 3 quarters, the Knicks had 9 fouls. For the fourth quarter, they had 7 fouls alone in the fourth quarter. So
let's let them play. But you know what? You have to earn that.
Yeah.
And
the only time I said something is fishy is when. Oh, never mind. I was thinking of a different game. Never mind.
It was fishy nonetheless.
It was fishy, but it was something else.
And the Nets are showing up, and the most important player on the Nets is exactly who I said it was months ago, and that's Joe Harris.
Sure.
When he is hitting his shots, the Nets are unbeatable.
Yeah,
they're unbeatable. And he has had 2 great games. The Nets look good. Now, granted, they're not playing a great team, but they're playing a good team. and they're making pretty good handiwork of them, which I think they should. Had the Nets come out much like the Lakers and struggled, I think you would have had a lot of people talking about, well, they haven't played together enough.
They did for a good portion of game one.
Well, a little bit, but they pulled away. They pulled away.
They did. They pulled away late, and they got it done. And then they came out in game two. And
they seem
took care of business. But
the Nets seem, number one, the Nets are playing better defense than they have all year collectively. They're playing better team defense, and they are moving the ball really well. And when they move the ball, and Harris is hitting down threes, which he is the best percentage-wise 3-point shooter in the league, they're hard to beat. Well, when your fourth option is the best 3-point shooter in the NBA, then
any team that has a fourth option who's the best 3-point shooter in the NBA is probably going to win some games. Yeah.
I mean, the Lakers look shaky and old.
It's funny. It's true.
I think the Bucks look a little stronger than people maybe thought they were going to look, although they struggled a little bit in that first game as well, but came out on top. I think it's going to be the Bucks, and I think the Bucks, Sixers, and Nets are going to battle out. I think the Nets are going to be really, really hard to beat. And if the Nets don't have to play the Sixers, I think they could beat the Bucks, and they might not have to.
Do you think the Knicks or the Hawks are going to give the Sixers any trouble, or do you think it's just going to be a 4-game sweep?
I don't think it'll be a sweep. I don't know, because I don't think there's enough of I don't know what the Knicks and Sixers did head-to-head this year, and it doesn't really matter because Embiid was hurt for part of it. The Knicks really weren't, they played them early in the season when the Knicks really weren't gelling all that well. I think the key to the most improved player from the beginning of the season to the end of the season on the Knicks has been Noel. Mm-hmm. He is playing really great defense. And if he can hold his own and make Embiid really work for it, I think the Knicks have a better chance of giving the Sixers some trouble. If Barrett and Bullock play like they did the other day. If those guys are hitting their shots, then I think the Knicks can make it a series. I don't think it'll be a sweep.
Gotcha.
It might be 4-1. It might be 4-2. But there's something going on with the Sixers. I think they're flying under the radar a little bit. And if they can get the right matchup and seedings, I think they can make it to the Eastern Conference Final without having a lot of wear and tear on themselves.
It's true.
Yeah, I don't think there's anyone in Atlanta that's going to give Embiid much problem. Certainly not as much as Noel can.
And I think Simmons can do a much better job of controlling Trae Young than the Knicks backcourt can right now.
Gotcha. Well, right now it's Trae Young has 26 points in this game right now. Rose is the point leader for the Knicks too.
Derrick Rose, it's exactly what you thought he would do. He stepped up, and he's the Knicks are winning despite the fact that Randall's not playing great.
Yeah, he didn't come out of the gate great the other night. So they got.
But tell me if you guys agree. I kind of felt like the Knicks were they were not by a lot, but they were the better team in game one. They just happened to do a pretty spectacular play.
The Knicks bench outscored the Hawks 64-31.
Here's the difference in that game. Trae Young. He was fearless. Right. He did not have a care in the world, and he was playing and having fun, and he was not tight. The Knicks got tight.
Right. They did. You could see it, especially towards the end of the game.
And look, Randall's 4 of 11 today. He's only shot 4 free throws. He's -3 with 13 points, and he's got 10 rebounds. He's working, but this is the problem with having a big guy who can't necessarily create his own shot and take it to the basket as much as someone like a Giannis can, or even a Jokic or an Embiid, where they just have a little bit more of a presence in the post and more skill to get their shot off. Right now, Barrett's got 13 and Rose has 24, and Burks might be the unsung hero of the next first 2 games.
If they win this series,
but if they can hold on and win tonight, they're up by 10 with 8 minutes left. If they can win with Randall not playing his best, then this bodes well for the Knicks in the rest of the series because he will come around. I think he's got a lot of pressure, and I think he's a little tight, and I think he's forcing it a little bit. That happens, and I think he'll work through it.
Right. No,
especially if he realizes, hey, we can win when I'm not necessarily carrying the load, and that's a big thing for him, I think, to learn.
Yeah.
And for this team to be able to accept.
Yeah, because he's in a position that he's never been in before, which is he's expected
he's literally carried them for an entire season.
To the point where he's actually he won the NBA award for most improved player.
Yeah.
He's the 6th player in NBA history to average 24.1 points per game, 10.2 rebounds per game, and 6 assists per game.
Yeah. I'll tell you the top 3 guys on that
sixth
list.
Player in NBA history to do that.
Well, who was number 2 was what's his name? Jeremy Grant, who, if the Nuggets still had Jeremy Grant, that was one of their biggest. Him and Torrey Craig, I think, were their biggest offseason losses. And I forget who came in 3rd on that most improved player.
I just had it.
I mean, all 3 of them are having standout years, and it's not like they had bad years previously, but their numbers are up.
Right.
Their numbers are up.
So 81, 88 now.
Yeah.
So
Knicks are up by 6. Look, there's 88, 82 now.
I see.
There's they got to learn how to close out games. They got to learn how to close out games.
They do. And it's a good thing Gallinari can't hit a 3 because they were leaving him wide open for him the other night. So
tonight too. He's 2 of 9. He's taken 9. He's shot 10 shots. 9 of them have been 3-pointers. Yeah. I mean, he always sucks at the Garden.
Well, he did when he was a Knick. But
hopefully, I don't jinx it. He hits the game-winning 3.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll tell you, Bogdanovich has been really the backcourt of the Hawks has dominated the Knicks backcourt.
Yeah. Anyway, well, there you go. Well, we'll see how things play out. Do you think one quick question as far as sweeps go? You think Boston has a chance of winning any game in Boston, or any game for that matter, or you think it's just going to be a sweep?
I think if the Nets win the next one, I think it's a sweep. Okay. I think if Boston's going to win, it's going to be game 3. Yeah, it'll be close. Maybe they can keep up enough energy to squeeze one out. They have the capability of doing it. I think you're going to see a coaching change in Boston if they get swept.
Probably, because you don't know what Boston team you're going to get. They're either going to be competitive, or they're going to not even show up.
Well, they have some injuries. They haven't really had the chance to really. They don't have an identity. They don't really have roles defined on what it is that they're. They haven't played together enough.
Right.
That's really the gist of it.
And they've had turnover of guys that were arguably their best player. 1 year and then gone the next. And I think game 1 was probably their best chance for a win. So
yeah,
agreed.
Look, I said I didn't think that the
85, 88 now.
I don't think the Nets will stay healthy for the whole series, but if they do, I don't see Boston winning a game.
No. There's some good series going on though. I think that Lakers Phoenix series I think it's going to go 7, and I think the Nuggets and Trailblazers is probably going to go 7, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Clippers and Dallas went 6 or 7. So I think we're going to see some long first round series.
I agree with you. It's a 1-point game, by the way.
Chris Paul get hurt, or
it's Chris Paul? I mean, I think he's been hurt since 2007.
Well, I see that it's a video clip says Barkley says with Paul limited, Suns are in trouble. So I don't know what that means.
Well, he's hurt
not completely
game 1.
healthy.
He played in game 2. He started off the game. I mean, he had some incredible maneuvering, but I mean, anybody can maneuver in the paint now because the minute somebody goes into the paint, everybody jumps out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
DeAndre Ayton is really the key to the Suns in a lot of ways, and that guy should be up for most improved player. He had a hell of a season. He's had a pretty good, first 2 games of this series. He's doing a pretty good job, battling that Lakers front line. We'll see. Yeah, the Suns. I think the Suns are in trouble if Chris Paul. It's a muscle bruise of his shoulder, and And he did look like he was playing in some pain. But when have we not seen Chris Paul look like he's playing?
Stick a needle in it and get out there, kid.
Well, yeah, exactly. And
it ain't broken if it just hurts.
Listening to Barkley last night, talking about Luka Doncic and the Clippers, he's saying you got to play defense. You got to put some wood on this guy. You got to make him earn his shots. And I think he's right. I think there's something to be said about that.
Well, listen, but Dallas might be this year's. Who's the team that you love? The Nuggets. Yeah. They might be this year's Denver. Might make a surprise run.
They might. I think they match up well against the Clippers. There's something about the Clippers. They just don't have those intangibles on that team. There's not that guy who's going to get. I mean, Kawhi had a hell of a game yesterday, and Paul George's numbers were really good, but it's a matchup problem. Yeah. Kawhi was guarding Luka. I mean, Kawhi scored 41 points, but he did that while having to guard Luka Doncic most of the game, and that's going to wear and tear on him a little bit.
That's going to tire you out.
There's some reports that Kawhi's not necessarily going to be back in LA next year.
I think. Well, yeah, we heard that that one of those guys wouldn't be back there this year. We heard that at the end of last year. Yeah. Everybody assumed it would be playoff P.
Well, it'd be,
but it could be.
Would it be interesting if Kawhi takes a trip maybe about 2,500 miles east
to the Nets?
I think it would be interesting.
Yeah, right.
I think Nets win their second championship in a row.
I think Kawhi, it would be interesting. I'll tell you.
That's what get Damian Lillard too.
I'm not saying this as a homer. Well, there's two teams that I think Kawhi would immediately fit on. I think Portland's one of them, but I think he'd be a better fit in Denver. Think about the way the Denver has the slowest offensive movement in the NBA. That is what Kawhi loves. And to picture the Nuggets have no guards right now. They have no guards. They're playing a center and they have Campazzo. So they have a backup point guard and and a center and three forwards at all times. There's no guards on this team. They're all hurt. So having Kawhi, yes, he's a small forward, but I think having Kawhi be able to play on that a healthy Nuggets team with Kawhi. I don't even think they need Murray, but imagine Murray, Leonard, Jokic with Aaron Gordon and Frank Campazzo playing point guard. Now you got a team.
Campazzo, just bring it across the timeline and pass it.
Campazzo,
and then get out of the way.
The Nuggets are much better with Campazzo in there because he is a nuisance on the defensive end, and he's a pretty good point guard, and he's upped his game so far in these playoffs. I like him in there, but they also have the ability to go big with either moving Kawhi to the 2 and then bringing Paul Millsap in to go along with Gordon and Jokic, or they could and then they also have Michael Porter Jr. in the mixer. So that's why I'm saying I don't even think they need necessarily Jamal Murray. If they had Porter and Kawhi, I think you can move Porter to the 3 and Kawhi to the 2 or play them both at the same time. And then you got some matchup problems.
Well, it would be interesting. That would be
It would be very interesting.
Yeah. And not so much a case with the emergence of the Nets and Philly, not so much a case of, I got to get out of the West because it's just too tough here.
And he's not going to come to New York. He's not going to. He doesn't want to be in the East. He doesn't like the Northeast. He wants to be somewhat closer. So that's why I think Denver and Portland are at least close enough where you can hop back when you need to, and it's a shorter flight, and you're going to be playing more games out of that Western time zone. But I don't know. I think he makes either of those teams significantly better. Right. And maybe a better chance with either of those two teams than he has currently right now with the Clippers.
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. That would probably be a good thing to say. One more quick thing on NBA. Do the Grizzlies beat the Jazz tonight and go up 2-0?
If they do, I don't think so. I think the Jazz. If I had to pick, I think the Jazz bounce back tonight. I think Mitchell is playing. I think he wanted to play the other day. They held him out. I think Donovan Mitchell's playing. I'm not 100% sure on that, but if he does,
I think I saw that.
I think the Jazz win this game, and they'll probably win it pretty handily.
There you go. All right. Well, there you have it. We'll see.
Knicks are up by 5 with 3.5 minutes left.
3:26 left. Yep, 96-91. So we'll see how that pans out too. We'll come back to that as the game winds down.
All right. Mitchell is available to play.
Mitchell's available to play. So
yeah, he was available the other day too.
So it might depend on the score.
I think I think so far. Look, the playing games were entertaining. Yeah. We've talked about that last week. I don't think we need to go into it again. I will say this. I loved watching Steph Curry and Draymond Green sulk with their towels over their head as they got bounced from the playoffs. You know, it was fun. That was fun.
I bet you had a good time doing that.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah, I didn't really. I didn't exactly feel bad for them.
I didn't feel bad for them.
Not so much.
So-called MVP Seth Curry couldn't beat Memphis to get into the playoffs.
There you have it. All right. Couple of quick NFL things. Not that there's a whole hell of a lot going on with the NFL, but I did say before that I wanted to bring one thing up. An interesting development, if you will. I don't know if either of you heard about this. Dallas has hired a new consultant. Did you hear who?
Well, hopefully it's a defensive coordinator consultant.
No. It's Mike McCarthy hired an old friend from Green Bay as, I'm assuming, an offensive consultant.
Aaron Rodgers is just going to be a consultant?
No.
Who was it?
It would be Ben McAdoo.
Ooh, that doesn't bode well. Why screw at the really good offense? I mean, Dallas has no. I mean, do they just want to make sure that they're bad?
I think that's the case. I don't know. Dallas hired.
I think Bob McAdoo would be better.
What is his official position? Do they say?
He's a consultant.
Lost.
Consultant. Just consultant. That's it. As a consultant.
Dallas hire?
Maybe they hired him as a consultant on Brill Cream. I mean, I don't really know.
Didn't Dallas get a new defensive coordinator?
I believe they did. Yes, I believe they did. They changed a few positions, changed a few coordinators and coaches. But I saw that. I got to bring that up. Ben McAdoo is on the Dallas Cowboys coaching staff as a consultant.
He's your favorite.
Oh, I love him. He's great. Salt of the earth.
Eli
and him are like this.
He's a doofus.
What did I call him? Ben McAdoo.
Maybe the worst Giants coach of all time.
Yeah. I would put him below Ray Handley. Because Ray Handley
wasn't a horrible guy.
Yeah.
And as an assistant, Ray Handley did.
He was actually a very good assistant for the Giants. So, he won a Super Bowl as an assistant for the Giants. So, obviously that was the wrong move then. We all know who the Giants coach should have been at that point. But that's
have to stop,
ancient history 20 years, 30 years ago.
Definitely been on air.
I may have to stop rooting for the Cowboys for a few years.
Ben McAdoo is a consultant for the Dallas Cowboys.
I mean, I root for him. I just root for them to fall flat on their face.
Well,
what is he going to consult on? I really could. It's just
you guys are making way too much progress on offense. Let me throw in a couple suggestions.
Well, you know what? Maybe they want the defense to be better by comparison.
To
the offense, because all we've been hearing the last 3-4 years is Dallas defense they're terrible. Well, maybe not the last 3 years. But so now they're going to go, by comparison.
There's one way we can make the defense look better. Make the offense shittier.
Yeah. The defense looks great by comparison.
I mean, if there's anybody who can ruin the long history of Dallas's vaunted offensive line, it's Ben McAdoo putting in people out of position who don't deserve to start and who run into each other when on the offensive line.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, where's Eric Flowers?
That's right.
Where's Eric Flowers these days?
Bring him back. Bring him in.
He's also a consultant.
He's a consultant, right?
He's coming in for a tryout.
At Chick-fil-A, though.
I don't think he remembered which hand went down on the ground.
Wait, a consultant at Chick-fil-A or a tryout at Chick-fil-A?
6-1.
Knicks are up by 9 with a minute left.
Yay. I'm actually happy that I'd like to see a good series between the Knicks and the Hawks.
Absolutely. A couple other things. Barkley's making progress, but there's no rush to return. So that headline today told me that
is he going to play for the Sixers or the Suns?
He's going to play for the Suns, absolutely. Yeah. Not Charles Barkley.
Oh, we're
Iran
talking
Barkley?
Saquon.
We're talking Saquon.
Saquon.
I thought he was.
Oh.
I thought he was fine.
Well, I mean, obviously he's running. Obviously he's making. If he's making progress, he's obviously he's been rehabbing. You don't make progress if you're not running.
He's making progress. He signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Julio Jones is going down there. Everybody just send everybody down to Tampa. But what's Garrett? How do you think Garrett's going to do with his new weapons, newly acquired weapons? Think he's going to have a better go of it offense-wise this year?
I've never been sold on Jason Garrett's abilities. I certainly wasn't impressed with him last year. I would love to see somebody else in that position on the Giants, to be honest with you.
Just not Ben McAdoo.
Not Ben McAdoo. That's
at that point. That's
pretty much anybody else. I just look. I don't think Jason Garrett is a bad coach. I just think that he has not had a lot of success.
Right. For a good coach, he's not successful. Less successful than he should be.
He had a lot of weapons in Dallas, and he had a good quarterback. He had a good offensive line with a great offensive line coach. Mm-hmm. He had a good offensive coordinator underneath him. So
his teams have consistently underperformed.
And I wasn't impressed. I didn't look at the Giants last year compared to the year before and go, "Oh, great improvement." On the offensive side. I saw the Giants improve on the defensive side.
Sure.
But I saw them kind of take a step backwards a little bit. Granted, Barkley was hurt. They had some injuries, but they just seemed worse at last year at times than they did, with the introduction of the Daniel Jones experiment the year before. So we'll see. We'll give him a chance, but I wasn't in love with the decision to make him the offensive coordinator of the Giants.
I think the key to everything, more so than Garrett's, play calling, is the offensive line. I mean,
if they can block the Giants, like I said before, the Giants have the weapons on the outside. Mm-hmm. If Barkley is half of what he's projected or capable of doing, and the line can block, and they've got some veteran guys especially at the tight end and wide receiver now, where if there is an injury, which happens, then they're deep. Yep. And so Garrett's a downfield guy. He's a vertical guy. And with Daniel Jones at the helm, the Giants need a little bit more of that, West Coast two-step dump and go type of offense, and the Giants have none of that going on. Mm-hmm. And that's what I don't like about the whole thing. I think they're built to run an offense like Tampa Bay or like the 49ers, but they don't, and that's my concern.
Well, we'll see how that pans out as we get. I mean, they're going through OTAs right now. And speaking of OTAs, Zach Wilson, as far as the Jets go, has clearly been the star attraction at OTAs. That's what all of the pundits are saying.
OTA or OTB? I thought he was
OTB. Well, OTC.
OTC.
Is
off-track betting.
Off-track betting and now organized team activities. Yeah. And I got to bring this up really quick, and you're going to love this, Pete. Just a Google search before, just a generic Google search before. You know how when you search Google, there's a couple of top hits, and then it says people also ask.
Right.
Right. Okay. The third, not the sixth, not the 10th, the third people also ask choice on this Google search.
I guess?
Go ahead.
Something about Zach Wilson's mom.
No.
Oh, all right.
All right. You're going to love it. You're going to love it.
Is it Rita Wilson?
Rita Wilson's mom. Yeah. Rita Wilson's. Yeah. Rita Wilson is his mom. I got you. No, the third one down is, are the Jets still in the NFL? People are apparently asking Google that.
Good question.
Are the Jets still in the NFL?
Good question. I'd like to know what they have to say. Siri, are the Jets still in the NFL? Technically, yes. Some would argue no.
That could be a lot of Jet fans who gave up the ghost and have heard a few things, and they're thinking about coming back.
Yeah.
and they want to know whether or not the team's still in the NFL to come back to.
Are they still playing? Or
I haven't watched
go to arena football.
Years.
Is it? Yeah.
Are they even still in the NFL? I think so.
It's the third choice down. The first one is, who the Jets draft in 2001, like that. And then the third one down, are the Jets still in the NFL? The third choice down. That's what apparently
if
more
they're
people
still
are
there,
asking.
I'll root for them again. Why not?
Why the hell not?
Why not?
And then here's the biggest news at this point in the NFL is what everybody's talking about now. Obviously, it was stadiums opening up full capacity this year. So that should be good for home field advantage if there is such a thing anymore in football. But, the 12th man, so to speak. And Adam Vinatieri retired after 24 years. So
I had 25 in the pool.
The Knicks won despite their best efforts.
Despite
both teams, I think, missed their last 12 shotaj.
They tried as hard as they could, but despite all their efforts, they still won the game.
The Knicks won 101-92 with Derrick Rose leading the way. Taj Gibson plus 26.
Plus 26 for Taj Gibson.
Yeah. He played 30 minutes tonight.
There you go. So it's 1-1. And then
he was good the other night too.
The Knicks bench, Toppin was plus 6, Gibson was plus 23, Derrick Rose plus 12, Burks plus 4, Quickly plus 8. Reggie Bullock was the only, I guess towards the end there, Randall got up to plus 3. But 15 points for Randall and Bullock, even scoring. Barrett 13. The Knicks did not shoot well, with the exception of even Derrick Rose took 21 shots, 9 of 21. This is encouraging because they didn't have to play their best game to win.
No, they didn't.
Pretty convincingly. But, they held the Hawks to 92 points. Mm-hmm. The Knicks might be the best defensive team. I know they are statistically. But there's something with their defense is going to keep them in games.
Yep. Yeah, they definitely are. That's a good thing. And that's why I brought that up before. If they are able to get past the Hawks in this first round, I think they're going to give do I think they're going to beat the Sixers?
Who would they play if they won? Who would they play in the next round? Well, they play the Nets, right?
No. They would play the Sixers. The Bucks would play the Nets.
That's right. No. Yeah. The Bucks are a higher seed than the Knicks.
Yeah, the Bucks would play the lower top seed. If it's 1, 2, 3, and 4 left, 4 plays 1, 3 plays 2. So if it's the Sixers, the Knicks, the Bucks, and the Nets, the Bucks and the Nets play each other, and the Knicks and the Sixers play each other.
The Nets were the third seed or the second seed?
Two.
Second seed, yeah.
Second, yeah.
Okay, so the Sixers would play the Knicks, and the Bucks would play the Nets.
Yes.
Okay,
that would be correct. So, and it doesn't matter really, assuming that Philly's going to beat the Wizards.
Well, imagine that. I mean, if the Knicks, I think the Knicks have a better chance of beating the Sixers than the Bucks or the Nets. Right. But imagine if it's a New York Eastern Conference.
Yeah, could you imagine that? Could you imagine if the Knicks somehow get past the Hawks and then somehow get past the Sixers, and it's the Knicks and the Nets?
I mean, we did it. We did it. If we could do it in '99 with Jeff Van Gundy holding on to Alonzo Mourning's leg, anything is possible. With Larry Johnson literally playing with one leg. Yeah. Chris Paul should call Larry Johnson and find out.
How did you do it? How did you do it? Just tell me, please.
In other NBA news,
Russell
Westbrook apparently hurt his ankle.
Yeah, he only had 10 points tonight.
Yeah, he only had 2 ankles.
Early in the fourth quarter, stepped on Furkan Korkmaz's foot, and then as he was limping out to the locker room, some fan dumped popcorn on him.
Oh, jeez.
And he had to be restrained by the people there. He wanted to go after the fan. I'm looking at the video right now.
A fan in Philadelphia dumped popcorn on him?
A fan dumped popcorn on him, and
they're softening. At least they're not throwing batteries at him.
If the security guys hadn't been there, he would have gone into the stands. So... Thanks, Wizards.
It was actually Meta World Peace who dumped the popcorn.
It was. Yeah. It was.
Thanks for everything this season.
Is he still Meta World Peace, or did he go back to
He's
Ronnie?
Ron Meta World Artest.
Meta World
Ron Meta World Artest Peace.
I think he actually changed his last name to Kardashian just to improve his
Meta Kardashian or Ron Kardashian.
Meta Kardashian.
He's the Meta Kardashian.
Yes,
the biggest of them all. It's Meta World Popcorn.
Meta World Popcorn. There you go.
World be free. Meta Kardashian. I met a Kardashian.
I met a Kardashian. There you go. That's exactly what it means.
You'd only be so lucky. The only problem was it was,
It was Meta B Kardashian.
Meta B Kardashian.
What's Bruce's new name? Did he change his last name to Kardashian, or is he still Jenner?
He's still Jenner.
Or they? She. Caius Kardashian.
Kai, just Kai.
What is it? What is her new name?
Beverly.
Caitlyn.
Caitlyn Jenner. There you go. Kyrie is his daughter. Her daughter. Its daughter. Their daughter. Their daughter. Right. That's the correct non-binary.
No, she goes by. She's not non-binary.
Oh, she goes by she.
She goes by she.
She goes by she. Okay. She. Her daughter. So.
Her pronouns are she and Republican.
Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Anyway. All right. So, NHL. Really quick.
Islanders have eliminated the Penguins.
Penguins. The Pirates. The Islanders.
The Islanders have eliminated the Steelers.
Yes, the Pittsburgh Penguins have been beaten by the New York Islanders.
And who was the first team to sweep a series? Yes, indeed, your own.
That would be Colorado
Avalanche.
The Avalanche, yes, the Avalanche.
Avalanche look good.
Sweep. Yep.
Islanders look pretty darn good too. This is kind of what the Islanders did last year. They really poured it on in the bubble. Let's see if they can do it out of the bubble. I mean, they're playing it. If they play some games in Long Island, it would be like playing in the bubble with no one around. So.
There you go. Well,
are they playing at Barclays as well as the new Nassau Coliseum, or are they only playing?
I think they're only playing because it's just the playoff games, right? I think they're only playing at Nassau Coliseum.
Oh, they're only at Nassau. Okay.
I believe
the new Nassau Coliseum.
Well, it's the refixed.
Yeah, it's
tidied up Nassau Coliseum.
Yeah, we wrapped some tinfoil around the outside of the building, and
God, it was bad.
Urinals in the bathroom, and it's a new Coliseum.
Yes.
Right.
It's still the same Uniondale Turnpike, but it's the new Nassau Coliseum. Right. Yeah. Well, they're playing the Bruins there, so they'll be going back and forth, much like the Nets and the Celtics. Thank you.
Yeah,
been going back and forth. So that's
although I think the Nets will most likely have.
I think the Nets will be done in Boston.
A better success than.
Well, I mean, the Islanders and the Bruins beat the 1 and 2 teams. You know, I mean, the Bruins knocked off the Caps. So,
yeah,
and but the Islanders knocked off the number 1 seed. So, you know,
and the Islanders just have the best uniforms. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I love those uniforms.
Well, anytime you can find a uniform logo on a box of fish sticks, you know
that's
you're
right.
onto something.
This is true.
You know you're onto something.
You're talking about the Penguins, obviously.
No, the Knights. The Golden Knights. Golden Nuggets. Anyway.
Let's see. What are they doing in their game?
Who's that?
The
Knights and the Wild?
The Knights and the Wild are tied in the second, and Tampa Bay is up 2-0. 7 minutes left in the third, so it looks like the Lightning may win the Battle of Florida.
There you go.
9,000 fans at Nassau Coliseum.
9,000. Yep. And so right now, the only one that's been decided. I mean, there's a couple of the teams, obviously the Avalanche and the
Bruins.
Jets are moving forward.
That's right. They played the Ottawa Rough Riders, right?
Right. Exactly. Well, they'll be playing either the Maple Leafs or the Canadiens.
You got to.
They'll be playing the Blue Jays or the Expos.
You got to love. I think you have to root for the Maple Leafs at this point, don't you?
You would think.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point they should, but hey, we'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting turn.
There it is. It's been good.
It's been good so far, and it's going to continue to be good. That's what I said. But you're right, though. Only one sweep, and that was Colorado. So,
and I like how they're doing overtime where they're starting the goalie at second base, and they have to.
They do.
They have to make it from the baseball stadium back to the hockey rink in order to defend the goal. It's been definitely speeding up the game.
It has been. Because you got to speed up the game. You got to because these kids, they don't like those long hockey games.
Way too slow.
So you got to move it forward. So anyway, anything else we want to talk about?
God, I don't know.
I don't
Are we
think
good?
so.
What do you think? We wrap it up.
Yeah, nothing else going on, right?
I
The
think
Olympics haven't started.
Congratulations to Phil Mickelson.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, at 50.
Isn't it
50 years
weird?
old.
Isn't it weird that somebody younger than the three of us is the oldest person to ever win a major in golf? And I could have sworn Phil Mickelson was older than me. Now it's close.
No.
But
He just turned 50. So
Now he's just going to hang around.
I was excited. I was excited for him, and then I was depressed.
hey, shit.
Even Phil Mickelson doesn't know who the courtship of Jerry's brother was, or what was it? The courtship of Eddie's.
Courtship of Jerry's brother.
Even the oldest person to ever win.
That was the original name, actually.
Courtship of Jerry's brother, right?
Courtship of Jerry's brother.
Well, it
didn't test well. So
it didn't test well. So what was it? Eddie.
Courtship of Eddie's father.
Eddie's father.
There you go.
Well, Jerry is Eddie's brother.
Jerry is Eddie's brother. But
Jerry's
courtship of Jerry's brother's father.
Eddie.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So now that we've come full circle, and again, congratulations to Phil Mickelson. We'll wrap it up for today. We want to thank everybody for watching, and for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thanks for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.getonwithitpodcast.com. That's getonwithitpodcast.com. And remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for the Get On With It podcast. And, of course, all of our shows are available on YouTube as well on the Logger Room channel. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night at 7:30 Eastern Time. For those of you that just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, and Stitcher. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you will never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Watch a lot of sports. Enjoy all of the playoff action, both hockey and basketball. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week, folks. Take care. Cheers.
Bye, everybody.
Look at the little Tula. She's talking to the producer. Talking to a cat. And a woman in a jumpsuit throws her a grapefruit. By George,